All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome in on a Wednesday.
Mike.
Yes, it is. Was your mic on?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Welcome to Hump Day.
Yes.
Dingers propelled the Mariners and the Yankees last night. We had a little hockey start to the season.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey knows their place in the sports world. That's okay. You'll be ignored. Hopefully the Olympics can help you. Why was the two-time defending champion raising a banner at 4 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon in Omaha, Nebraska? Now, they were not in Omaha, like at, downtown raising a banner, but that game was on at 4 o'clock Omaha time yesterday.
But in South Florida.
It was awful. It was 60% of their stadium was filled.
Arena?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't even close to being at capacity. And they are literally loaded and very well could end up being a 3-time Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah, that's disappointing for hockey, but that's what hockey is, and hopefully the Olympics will help this year. The Olympic year. And my particular team, we're 2 points further away from getting Gavin McKenna after winning last night. But if you stayed up, Nathan McKinnon, hello, now the all-time points getter for the Colorado Avalanche.
Wow.
That was kind of fun last night to watch that late night. But there was baseball. You know, I said last week that I think I saw the perfect pitch in a game.
Yes.
With Mason Miller.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw the perfect swing last night.
Were you talking about Aaron Judge's home run?
Aaron Judge, that ball was up and in, and he turned on it 98 plus miles an hour from a guy that he has absolutely destroyed. So
season-saving.
Bad move from Toronto, bringing Varland into the game. But to doink it off the foul pole, that might be one of the most perfect home run swings I've ever seen. Next to Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh, right.
I love it when the home team does well in playoff baseball. Like,
why?
Because it's just the crowd.
Are we forecasting today?
Well, yeah, I'm hoping so.
Right.
I'm trying to get some good juju going toward our team. I just love it when the home team does well because I think the stadiums and the fans are incredible. It's awesome. The atmosphere is like, I rewinded that Aaron Judge home run probably 3 times because I wanted to feel Yankee Stadium like erupting over and over and over again. It was sick. It was cool.
I think Yankee Stadium is better when the Yankees are losing. Because you get the surrender cobras and Fox goes looking for that fan that is beside themselves. Boom. Because I was already, and I think, I don't think the series turns around on one swing. Now they scored 8 unanswered and they went on to win last night and they got help from the bullpen. But Toronto is better suited and they have to find 27 outs today. I was already, you got Jazz that is yawning. That forgets that somebody's going home.
Aaron Boone was like, do I have boxes to clear my office?
Now, Rodon let them down, so they immediately had to go to bullpen. But I'm thinking this is it for the Yankees. Judge turns 34 in April, and he turns on a pitch and ties the game at 6. And I was like, dang, I was looking forward to Yankee fans losing their mind, especially the 2 that tried to run on the field or did run on the field last night to try and interrupt Vladdy's at bat.
Real, I didn't see
Were
that.
they tackled immediately?
They were. So,
Okay.
We have this thing in society where we don't show people that run on the field. I don't believe that FS1, because I've almost made it through the entire broadcast, showed the student running on the field on Saturday. So Joe Davis kind of described it, and John Smoltz added a little commentary. But they were showing, I think the whole time they were showing Vladdy while they were on the 2 were on the field. And they said one guy ran on the field. Now, like if you go on Twitter, people that were at the game have video of it. And then his buddy ran on the field as well. So, I was waiting for the Yankees. It was going to be done. They were going to be swept. They were going to make changes. And then Aaron Judge doinked one. And then Jazz with a bat flip.
Do you know there's like
they're still having Yankee baseball.
There's like a professional streaker, like a dude who's been streaking at like so many different sporting events, and it's like one of his like favorite things to do
in America.
Yeah, and he went on Pablo Torre Finds Out, and I didn't watch it. I just saw that he was on there. I don't understand people who run on the field. What is like they don't show you anymore. They don't give you attention. You don't become any more famous from it. We're not like grabbing these people off of Twitter and being like, hey, why'd you do something really stupid and end up in jail? I don't know. They annoy me.
Well, what are you going to do about them?
Well, nothing. It's just one of those. That's the annoying part. It's like, what am I going to do? Send out a message and they're going to be like, oh, I'm not going to run on the field anymore.
You're way too young. Jimmy might remember this. Remember Morgana, the kissing bandit?
Yeah, I remember. I was at the game where she got Larry Brown in the hemisphere.
I was at a game in Kansas City when I was really, really young, and she hopped out of the front row of the third base stands at Royal Stadium at the time.
I don't know how she don't
And-
fall over.
Yeah, well,
Google her, Matt. You'll understand.
she had some flotation devices,
Mhm.
and she popped over the railing and popped right back up and was running to home plate where George Brett was batting. Gave him a big old smoocher and was escorted out of the ballpark.
I remember
She's
seeing
still-
that clip.
She's still with us?
She's still with us.
All right.
How old is Morgana, the kissing bandit?
She's 78 years old.
Okay.
Wow.
She hasn't
young.
performed for a long time. But yeah, that was and that was kind of like acceptable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Well,
thought she
remember-
worked for the Spurs.
Remember, running on the field at sometimes was accepted. One of the greatest moments in the history of the great game of baseball, Hank Aaron. What happens? Two fans run out of the stands and they make the trip around the bases
Yes.
with Hammer and Hank.
Yeah, but that's
I mean, at the end
more-
of you used to see this. So if you go back and look at some of the great Yankees World Series clinchers at Yankee Stadium,
They all run on the
look at
field.
the fans that run on the field. Hell, Bill Veeck and Mike Veck's life changed when people ran on the field and destroyed a field in Chicago. Now, that was not during a game. It was a planned promotion. But yeah, people running on the field used to be like more celebrated. Now it only gets celebrated if Kevin Harlan is doing the play-by-play.
Yeah.
Did Cal Ripken actively takes a kiss from this?
So they all did.
Yeah, they all did. It was an act.
Yeah. Larry
It
was,
was an act.
smiling in the huddle and he got the kiss. I was like, as long as we win.
Yeah, you guys weren't talking about flotation devices either.
No.
Surprised she wasn't sitting in the first row of the Brewers Cubs.
This
game
is
there.
ridiculous.
No. 4 division series today. So all the
Yes.
baseball is in action, beginning in the light of Mother Nature to the dark. Yes, the Cubs do play today. Anybody want to make a prediction on who's going home?
I say
There's a
they
couple
both
of
win.
2-0 series. There's a couple of 2-1 series.
I say the Cubs win today. I say that the Phillies win today. That's what I say.
Yeah.
team, one away
I
team.
I don't see any sweeps. I hope.
Well, no. So who's going home?
Yeah. Nobody's going home.
Nobody's going home.
Going home.
Nobody's going
Oh,
So we're gonna
Yankees are going
You
home.
got 3. You got 2 game 5s.
Wait. Are you talking about? Are
Who's
they
going?
all
All 4
are they
games.
all playing today?
they're all playing today.
I know.
yeah.
I was sorry. I was
4 games.
distracted by Morgana the kissing bandit. I was
Yes.
watching.
So there are
watching these
4
videos.
division series today.
I say-
Yankees go home.
I
today.
say Yankees go home today. The other 3 don't go home.
Okay.
Get Schoolboy in Game 5 in Seattle.
Yes,
Cubs survive.
I agree with Jim.
That actually might be okay for the Mariners because they're 3-0 against Scooble.
Yeah, they won game 1.
And the Phillies, they're too good to go down like that. And they may lose in Game 4, but they won't lose tonight.
I think the Cubs win. I'm confident the Cubs win. I would be so disappointed if the Cubs don't end up winning. And to only have one
So would
NLDS
Chicago.
game at home, I'd be very mad about that. I mean, because I want them to have more
They're
playoff.
playing a
games.
better team. I'm reserved to they're playing a better team that is built better
Right.
than the Cubs, and the Cubs have no offense.
I
Tyan's
think-
going to have to pitch a while today.
Cubs win one game.
I mean, I'm not like this is not going to happen because I do kind of like him pitching, but it just feels inevitable.
Mhm.
It
Brewers
feels
won 97 games, and the Cubs have no offense. They might get one. They might take one at Wrigley. I mean, I don't have any faith they're going to win the series. It'd be nice, yes, to win today, but if they get swept, I'm not going to be like, oh man.
I don't have any faith they're going to win the series either. And even if they won the series, I can tell you right now that I would have zero faith that they would end up winning the NLCS or going to the World Series. Like I just think straight up, this team does not have the starting pitching or the arms to just get themselves into the World Series.
But if by chance they find a way to stretch the series, you'd have Cade Horton pitching in Milwaukee in Game 5 if we ever get to that. No, today might be the last day of Kyle Tucker in a Cubs uniform. That might be okay.
I mean, I'd be fine with it. I'd be okay with it. I also wouldn't mind if they re-signed him. Like, I'm not going to look after the core left and we traded Baez and Rizzo and Bryant and all of them. Those like 2 years of just meddling in the Patrick Wisdoms and the Mike Talkmans and the Spencer Schwindells. Like that was very tough. Do you remember Spencer Schwindel? Frank Schwindel,
who just retired, former Storm Chaser. You're thinking of the Husker pitcher with the Braves.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's Frank Schwindel. But you know what I'm saying here? I just hated the whole like we went through so many guys that you knew weren't going to be here in 3 years, and you were getting a bunch of like quadruple A players.
Yeah.
Like, I like the fact that they actually have pro guys on the team and that there are dudes who have been in the league in a while and they'll be in the league in a while. So in fear of going back to that, I'm like, I'm fine if you keep Tucker. I'm not fine if you keep him for like $40 million a year.
I only keep Kyle Tucker if he agrees to do a Bellinger year, a prove it year.
I
think this is the last stand for Kyle Tucker at Wrigley Field because someone will overpay for him.
Yeah.
And then they will be paying for a guy that in his career in the playoffs hasn't done anything and has disappeared in August and September the last couple of years. Had a good little run, but
I can confirm.
Yeah.
It'd be a very like Diamondback move, to like
What do they do?
very like random team move to just go
We
ahead and
signed
pay.
Kyle Tucker,
Yeah,
$70 million a year.
Like they did
What?
with Greinke. Remember when they signed Greinke and everyone's like, oh, that was really like quick and a lot of money, and like they weren't necessarily the team that a lot of people had pegged to do it.
All right, busy show this morning. Coming up at 8 o'clock, Jay Moore stops by with his thoughts. Everybody's angry about Nebraska football, so let's talk about a team that's 4-1. No, I
know what you mean.
I mean,
they're 4-1.
I had to remind somebody yesterday playing golf. Nebraska is 4-1. Guy was just bitching about everything. I'm like, they won. They're 4-1.
Yeah.
They're 4-1. So we'll remind Jay that Nebraska is 4-1. I kid because Jay is extremely optimistic. Ed Lee will stop by to talk Maryland football. John Walker at 9 and Brandon Vogel at 9:40. Also this morning, as you pick up your fish wrap, your multicolored fish wrap, today is the day that the USA Today posts all of the available college football salaries for coaches.
Oh.
Their database is out. Matt Rule might surprise you. He shares the same salary with a fellow Big Ten coach who has been ranked this year.
Okay.
Franklin and Rule make the same amount of money, their base salary.
Really?
Yeah, Matt Rule is the 15th highest paid coach in college football. You can see it. It's always one of those things every year that you debate and you're either happy of the coach, how much you spend on your football coach, how much you don't spend on your football coach,
Yeah.
your return on investment. So that's up. Also, the inevitable happened in high school football yesterday. Told you last week it's going to happen. 1 down, 2 to go, maybe not. And North Platte apparently is set to come play Millard South, and Benson at the end of the year, but Lincoln High, you could see this one coming a long way away. I mean, Millard South was already looking into a game to fill the vacancy, but Lincoln High forfeited their game against Millard South, and it continues the discussion about high school football in this state, which just got to make it through this year. Not going to say it's going to get fixed next year, but in terms of the competitive balance, it should be a little bit better next year. But for the next month, buckle up. We have our first Class A forfeiture. Cost you $1,000 in the playoffs.
Really?
Yeah.
To forfeit a game? You have to pay $1,000.
$1,000 fine.
Wow.
And you forfeit being in the playoffs.
That's interesting. I mean, I'm assuming that Lincoln High wasn't gonna make the playoffs or anything like that.
That is, did not. They got beat by Southeast 57-0. I think they were going to be on the outside looking in. But you know what? I think both sides are right. I'll explain it later.
I can't wait to hear it. I mean, we'll talk about the opinions that I have on it. I mean,
Well, you can share them now.
I mean, I think that this is the whole idea of not being districted and kids could go anywhere that they want to go. And that being like, there definitely are positives to it in terms of like the educational aspect, the school aspect of it. Like there are reasons to support it. But I also think too, that there needs to be at least some attention paid to the exposure it can bring in terms of like stacking these high school football teams and stacking these athletic teams. And like, we need to acknowledge the, I don't know, dangers, but like, it's not fun that every single game that Millard South plays is 70-0. And it's not fun for the teams that are in Class A that are competing against, that are like kind of your more standard high school football teams that are like having local kids come in and having local kids play,
like
that they end up playing some of these quote unquote super teams. Like, I don't think it's fun for those kids either. But at the same time, like, I don't think that we should completely base some of the decisions that we make in terms of where kids should be able to go to school just based on the competitiveness of high school football.
So I'm pro open enrollment.
I mean, open enrollment is something that I've never really dealt with before in terms of like where I grew up. Like, we didn't have open enrollment where I grew up. And so like this kind of concept to me is incredibly foreign, and which is why when we have people come on here, I'm just very attentive to it and I just listen to it. And I don't have the biggest opinions on it in terms of it sucks that Class A, like there are so many blowouts, and that we have Thursday games where the Class A total is 250 points to like 0, right? The point differential in terms of the scores are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I don't blame Lincoln High for being like, we're not going to travel all the way out to Omaha and get our butts whooped, you know?
All the way out to Omaha.
Well, I mean, still, it's like an hour trip out. Like, I don't blame them for like hopping on the bus and like all the kids knowing on the ride there that they're probably going to get beaten 80-0. They're going to get hurt.
There's so much to unpack in this.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't new, and you could see this coming. And maybe this changes down the road with competitive balance scheduling that's going to go on in a Class A. I think through all of this, and I've of course have many thoughts on this whole situation, is if you want to be better, and again, I'm pro open enrollment, but I also think there need to be some guardrails about being able to transfer for particular reasons, to participate in extracurricular activities. But if you want to be successful in this city or in Lincoln, and I know why Lincoln is not successful, is you better get a feeder program, and you better build your feeder program, and you better try and keep kids together that start in 4th and 5th and 6th grade, and they play football together for a long time together. And then they get to your program and they know exactly what you're doing. First thing I'd do as a head coach is I would build my feeder program, and then I would sit back and I would start to reap the benefits as those kids that play together in my feeder program make it all the way to high school. Lincoln doesn't have that. And Lincoln has fallen so far behind Omaha high school football. And I don't see it changing because the feeder programs, whether it be Millard South, which has a really good feeder program, other schools, that's not changing.
Well, so were feeder programs not a thing when open enrollment wasn't?
I mean, they were where I grown up, so I get it.
I mean, I think because when we
does matter, Gary.
When my high school football, because I'm just speaking from my experience when I went to high school, that's how we did it, right? Like
I don't know. I can't. I don't know. Like you can explain. I don't know anything about Illinois' restrictions and stuff.
Well, it was you can go to
apply to Nebraska. Like, is there something in there?
Well, because you could go to any single Catholic school that you wanted to, right? And so it was,
which you can do now.
Yeah. So that's why the Catholic schools in Chicago ended up taking over, because it was just like they were able to recruit and give financial aid and essentially give scholarships. I have no idea what the landscape of high school football would look like if I could just end up going to Simeon, or I could just end up going to like Walter Payton if I just lived in Skokie. And it would, the fact that like the whole open enrollment thing when it came to high school sports where I grew up was you had to pay in order to give yourself an advantage, like whether it be with Loyola Academy was better. If this high school was better at football, you would have to pay money in order to do that.
And to go to a private school.
Yeah. So
it's the same here.
And but with the open enrollment, it's like you can just go to Millard South if you want to, and you can just kind of walk through the door, and you don't have to pay extra money for that, do you?
No, but they're a public school.
Okay. So maybe I just don't understand the concept then.
Yeah, it's like Millard South is a public high school.
Yes.
Yeah. Like Omaha Creighton Prep is private.
Sure.
And the parochial schools in this city are private.
But if I don't live in Millard South's district, I could still go to Millard South, correct? Like
if they are open.
And
if they are open.
If they're open enrollment. Like I think that from an educational standpoint, like that's great. Like that's really, really good, right? If you're like your district lines, if you want to pursue something specific, or they have a great program, or they're really good at doing this, and your district doesn't necessarily provide that, I think it's great you can go there. But at the same time, the guardrails, like what you talk about when you say guardrails, like there definitely needs to be guardrails, because I think that Millard South, I think it's fine that they get maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or a couple different dudes to support their program. But like the whole building of super teams, like I'm not for that. I'm not for that at all. I'm not for when you begin the season, you kind of know, hey, this team, because they have all these different guys, because they will recruit them all, they're probably going to end up winning the class title.
Now, it hasn't been as one-sided, but if you go back through the history of like Class A, it's not like every year there's 8 to 10 teams.
Mhm.
There usually is like 2 to 4 teams that are the dominant teams.
Sure.
Not to the level what Millard South has been doing this year, just crushing people. But Class A has kind of been lopsided for a while.
Mhm.
And actually these kind of things have happened at lower. What has trickled down is the lower level classes now have just routes,
Sure.
like 65-0 running clock beginning at halftime. I mean, it's a thing where, and I know, because I know a lot of them down at the NSAA, they're friends of mine, they're trying, they're a little bit handcuffed on what they can do, because NSAA can't just say, hey, this is what we want to do. I mean, they have a board.
Yeah.
The stuff that affects us here in Omaha is voted on by people out in North Platte, okay, that don't have the worries that we have here. So they have to go through some things. I will say that the competitive, and cooperation isn't always the greatest of everybody getting on the same page. The ability to get, beginning next year in Class A, competitive balanced scheduling is a huge step. Millard South won't be on the same level they were next year. Actually, Class A next year will be a little meaty middle. There'll be some really quality teams. There'll be a couple of still really good teams, but there'll be more quality teams in the middle of the pack. So
they should get some better games.
When I knew when I said last week this is going to happen, I knew this was coming.
Well,
I'm not surprised, but I don't blame either side. I mean, now Millard South having 2 kids from Kansas City living in the basement of a coach, no, and you got dinged for it, okay? But what is Millard South or West Side or North or Central or any of the other schools that have had great success recently in high school football? What are they doing that is not allowed?
I mean, they haven't gotten dinged for it or anything like that. So I don't think they're doing anything that's not allowed. I do have a question for you, because you're an expert on this. I'm definitely
an expert.
Okay, but you know way more about it than I do. Okay. Would you say that there is a possibility in the future that this open enrollment causes more parity than one team being dominant? No.
I don't. I think that's a pipe dream for anybody that thinks there would be back to high school football back in the day where everybody was competitive.
Yeah.
I think it is what it is, and kids that play football are attracted to coaches. They are attracted to programs. They are attracted to places that put kids into college football programs. That's just the way of life. Some have the option more than others. It's what? We have finally arrived here in Omaha, Nebraska, that we look like a lot of other fairly big cities when it comes to high school football and shopping and moving around and chasing a scholarship.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I mean, so when I brought up the where I grew up, right? It was more so like that was done through, like, there was some sleazy crap going on, this happened where I grew up too, where it's like people getting under the table stuff and getting concessions that they're literally not allowed to get, and all of a sudden, hey, this guy, he's got like 4 different lunches and he's spending all this money and he's walking in with this, like, the things that, things that he probably shouldn't be walking in with. And that, he's there. He's there to play football.
He just flies in for games.
High school athletics has become mini college.
Yeah.
How you recruit, how you build a roster. I mean, how you have announcements of 8th graders of where they're going to school. While college football has become NFL light, high school sports has become college light.
That's a great way of putting it.
I mean, we don't have the influence here, but in other places, like in Chicago, you have the shoe influence. Okay.
Sure. You're totally
King
right.
High School is, and I'm gonna use them as an example, but let's say they're a Nike school. Well, if I'm a Nike ambassador, don't I want a huge high school prospect wearing Nike shoes while he's playing in high school and everybody can see him?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
That's I mean, that's funny you put that way too, because I mean, in high school, at least on like a 99.9 percentile level, these kids aren't making millions of dollars like they would be in college. They're not making hundreds of thousands of dollars like they would be in college. I mean,
their parents might be. Slip them a little cash.
Well, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, maybe like the number one prospect
Definitely
in
like
all of
up.
America. Maybe he's getting a ton of money from somebody in California and Jersey, but from like a local level, like, I don't know if there's actual NIL or stuff like that, but it is interesting to think about the fact that maybe the things that players would get, like in the 2000s in college
Yeah.
is probably something that kids now in high school are getting.
Ooh, CD
Like,
players.
you're getting a couple $1,000 stipend, or you're getting, hey, here's a lease, or here's this. And I'm not talking about Nebraska specifically. I'm talking about everywhere. But I've never heard anyone say that the college turning into the NFL has made the high school turn into college.
Yeah.
So what? I mean, are eighth graders now in high school?
What do you mean?
Well, I've just made a bad joke there.
Oh.
Just say because
No, they're going on Facebook and Twitter and wherever they're at and telling about their commitment or thanking a coach for coming to visit their Pop Warner game.
Is that actually happening?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Happens in the city.
Are
Oh,
we
yeah.
having hat
Happens back
ceremonies
home.
in eighth grade now?
I don't know. I've seen a hat ceremony.
That's coming.
I've seen a hat ceremony of a guy who he was just a random dude, and he was trying to pick his colleges, and then he picked up a Menards hat.
Hey, good on him.
You save big money.
Hey,
I know he probably.
you work at Menards for a while. You become a manager at Menards. You make a lot of money.
I guarantee he does.
All right,
Probably
have
good.
the lineup for the referees brought to you by John Higgins Weather Guard. We'll talk a lot of football this morning. We'll also talk. Yeah, Dana. Some days you just wake up and you go, yeah, we just sucked. Sometimes you walk out of here and you go, yeah, that show, we just sucked. Dana, we can relate to everybody. I think Dana Holgerson might be the most relatable offensive coordinator that's been at the University of Nebraska.
Yeah.
Outside,
Pretty
well,
awesome.
I don't know if we can relate to T.O. But like it was refreshing to hear Dana Holgerson speak yesterday. He spoke plenty about his quarterback, and everybody wants to talk about the quarterback. I discovered something about Dylan yesterday.
What? Okay. I like this.
We'll,
I like it when
we'll
you
share.
discover things.
All right, we're off and rolling. You can join the conversation at any point on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline, 402-951-1620. Gary and Matt with Jimmy on a Wednesday on 1620 The Zone. Hey, you know who's having a good week nationally? He's in the headlines. Everybody is talking about him, and he had a good night last night.
No.
Bad Bunny. So Bad Bunny going to perform at the Super Bowl. People have opinions.
Yeah.
Then he was on Saturday Night Live. Last night he caught a foul ball at
Oh,
Yankee
nice.
Stadium.
Good for
Alright.
Bad Bunny. Some guys just
What are you
have it
sitting
all.
next to Rick Pitino?
Some guys are he's tall. And he's a very like tall dude. Like
He looks tall.
And not a
it's-
bunny.
No, but it's so frustrating. I mean, he's tall, he's incredibly talented, he's a singer.
Say he's good looking.
Why
He's
is it
good
frustrating?
looking.
Is he got a I don't
I think he's dating
I-
Kendall Jenner.
okay.
Yeah, who isn't? Yeah, who hasn't?
Whoa. I mean, I don't think she's
Me?
big.
That's true.
To answer
No,
your
But
question.
but Livy, that's
You know, people forget that Bad Bunny actually has performed in the Super Bowl before.
How did first off, he's no longer dating Kendall Jenner.
Okay.
How was
He'll
Bad
have
Bunny
suitors.
already performed at the Super Bowl?
He did when Shakira.
Oh,
Was
he
it
was there?
Yeah, he was.
Oh,
he,
I didn't know.
He was part of the performance.
I don't remember any.
fantastic show.
Yeah,
fantastic.
I only remember.
I don't remember
certain
the game.
moments from J Lo and Shakira. No, I'm just saying he's
Then
an
we got
incredibly
COVID.
frustrating human to look like from a jealousy perspective. Like I'm not afraid to admit
One
it.
of the
Yeah,
seven deadly
I'm
sins.
incredibly jealous of Bad Bunny. I would love to be a Latin global superstar who is incredibly talented, funny, and oh, by the way, main evented a WWE
Yeah.
premium live
Yes.
event and has wrestled at WrestleMania.
But you have
and
a radio
wrestled
show
at
in
SummerSlam.
Omaha.
Like-
You're doing okay.
No, I'm a very happy human.
There you go.
But it's just like that dude is doing backflips on pay-per-view, and everybody's talking about how incredible he is at wrestling. Oh, and by the way, he also can make you do the salsa better than anyone in human existence. So it's just like,
And don't forget that he is the caddy in
Yes.
Happy Gilmore 2. I mean, it's a really good life. It's been a good year for,
They're talking
as he was
Oscars.
referred to last week as that silly rabbit that's
Bad
going
Bunny
to
rabbit.
perform at halftime.
who referred to him as that?
People that are not happy that
Okay.
Bad Bunny is performing at the Super Bowl.
So
But
I
he
haven't
caught
seen,
a foul ball yesterday.
I haven't seen Happy Gilmore 2. I don't plan on seeing Happy Gilmore 2.
That's too
But
bad.
I,
It was a
but
nice
I learned
watch.
the plot of
Wholesome.
said movie.
Yeah.
What I mean, it just sounds incredibly stupid. Was it a good? Did you enjoy it?
But I liked.
Mhm.
What are
Was-
your expectations?
Yeah,
I
You're like,
don't
I-
know.
this
wanna-
isn't Gandhi.
I want to cry. I want to have the world moved. I want to laugh at something dumb. Happy Gilmore 1 was dumb.
Mhm.
I
No,
laughed at it.
that
Happy
was-
Gilmore 2 was dumber, and I laughed at it.
That's the problem.
Vern
Like,
Lundquist is in it.
Happy
We,
Gil-
no. I'm
Happy
going to stop
Gilmore
you
was
here.
already.
I'm going to stop you here. We need more laughing. We need more dumbness that is not like dumbness that you get in trouble for.
Mhm.
But we just need more positivity.
We stopped
no,
laughing.
I
We
agree.
just need to be laughing more. We don't laugh enough. And you know what? If something is dumb and it's funny, don't knock somebody else for enjoying it. I enjoyed it, but you know what? I didn't go in going, "Ooh, I wonder if Sandler will win an Oscar off Happy
No,
Gilmore 2."
stop.
Mhm.
I wanted to
Stop.
see cameos.
Stop.
I knew it was going to be a dumb plot, but you know what? I was touched at the end
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
the way the movie ended, well, you're not going to see it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to see it.
He ended as a tribute to Chris Farley
Yeah.
from one of Chris Farley's movies,
Oh, that's
how they did
great.
the ending. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
That's
See?
But
that's
Bad
great.
Bunny was pretty good in it and had a key role.
he was
I'm
very
not saying-
important.
I'm
very
not saying
important.
I'm anti-comedy, and I'm not
I don't
bagging
think
on.
you like to laugh.
No, I do like to laugh.
I think the younger generation just like to be negative.
Okay.
Yes.
You
Yes.
probably DM'd Henry Lutovsky.
I did not DM Henry Lutovsky.
Oh.
I'm not a dummy like that. I'm not a jackbutt. All right.
Nobody ever DMs and be like,
very
"Hey,
well mannered. I just
keep
slapstick
your head up.
comedy
Go get
was
'em."
great in the early 2000s. We just need to change the type of comedies we do.
What
Just,
are you,
I
what are you
don't like-
wanting for comedy?
I just don't want slapstick. I don't want, they purposely pulled a back tendon so they have a robo thing in their back and they're swinging all the way back.
That's
Great-
fantastic.
and they're
Great
coming
storyline.
through.
You didn't see that one coming.
No, because it's so dumb. Why would I see it coming?
It's okay sometimes to watch stuff and that's dumb and you go, "What? My life is better," but that's kind of funny.
I like the Green Book. That's like my favorite movie. So
Green Book?
I like those types of movies.
Okay, there's some comedy in there. Did you laugh?
Oh,
I did laugh.
thought
in
you
that
said
movie
Green Mile.
when
All
he
right.
was
All right.
when he threw the chicken wing out of the car, and then
It was a
the
really-
doctor did the U-turn.
I thoroughly enjoyed that movie.
no
it
wonder
beautiful
Theo
movie.
Vaughn's a big deal.
Um,
I get it now.
What do you mean?
Well, because
He wasn't in the
people
Green
say
Book?
he's funny, and I don't think he's funny, but people your age say he's funny.
See, Theo Vaughn has changed a little though. Like he's become a little more serious than usual.
Okay.
He's
Just because of his guests?
No, I think he now
I mean,
knows.
I give him. He's got some range. He went from interviewing Morgan Wallen to JD Vance.
See, that's the thing though. Like now that he has a bigger platform and everything like that, and he's become like an A-list celebrity, like he's got to be a little bit more like kept into a box in a certain way and can't be as wild as he used to be. Same thing. You remember Call Her Daddy? You know,
still on.
Alex Cooper?
Still on.
No, I know. But like the episodes she used to do compared to the episodes she does now that she's like super popular are like completely night and day. Like they're very, very different. Well, she used to talk a lot about, her personal college life and stuff like that. And just a lot of like gregarious things that she would do and what would happen and whatnot. And now she interviews like A-list celebrities and gets into like very emotional conversations about like their relationships and their divorces and their struggles and what they went
you're right.
through.
They don't laugh.
And it was just
that makes me
just
sad.
It was a complete 180. And I feel like Theo in a way is not doing that complete 180, but he's not as like, I had a cousin once that like got struck by lightning. Like that was his bread and butter.
Okay. Well, you should listen to the Morgan Wallen one because that was straight country as country can be.
I'm sure that was incredible.
All right. Before we get to our first caller of the morning, middle of the week, Nebraska takes on Maryland on the road, 2:30 on Saturday. Big Road Reaction will be the OGs hosting that show, Bishop and myself. I was sifting through the discourse about Dylan Raiola.
Yes.
I got some thoughts, but my main takeaway from just listening and discussing the quarterback of a 4-1 football team in Lincoln, there are way too many stats out there. There are way too many stats.
Too many numbers.
You're a stat guy.
Yeah.
You at least keep it within reason. There are too many stats. There's just the stats are out of control. And of course you can take stats and you can like spin them your own way. A guy that used to sit in that chair used to say stats in a vacuum. And I'm like, that's a dumb phrase. And then I always think about that. But just looking at some stuff about Dylan, way too many stats.
I've told you this before.
Way too many.
Analytics are great when they help your point. Analytics are stupid when they're against your point.
Yes. So you can spin your stats however you would like in your conversation about Nebraska's quarterback of a 4-1 football team.
I appreciate your compliment, though, that I somewhat keep it within the lines. You did not like turnover worthy percentage. Wow. You were not a fan
McMaster.
of when I went back and I watched that clip and the look on your face when I go TOW.
Well, the what's the new one this week concerning Dylan? Yards. Depth of target.
No, I use that.
I
use that. Average depth.
That's a new one I've heard this week.
Average depth of target? I've used that before.
Well, it's used more this week because it's a drastic change from Michigan. So that's a new one that has been used.
4-1. Only numbers.
And then there's an offshoot to that is average depth of target is how fast the target was running when they stopped. And then how fast backpedaling was the offensive lineman. And all those go together and you get this stat. And technically, it should have been an incomplete pass, but it was a caught pass. So in PFF, you get a +1 for that. Too many stats. Way too many stats. You know what? At some point, don't you have to watch football with your eyes?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Block, tackle.
Thank you, nerds. Now, stats, there are some important ones, but there's way too many of them.
Talking about backpedaling.
No. Stats are important.
Turnovers, don't do that.
There are some, there's some that I could go. Let's say I want to crush Dylan.
Yes.
I can go and find a so obscure stat this morning, and I could spin it however I want.
You definitely could.
Yeah.
I could
Too many stats.
I could probably do that right now.
Here is Nebraska Ball Mike. Hello.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello. What forces you to call twice in 3 days?
I'm not forced to call anybody.
Okay.
Relax.
Okay.
Relax.
You mentioned I'm not a high school football expert at all. Gary, you're more qualified to
I just have
talk about
seen
this,
a lot more. Yes.
This isn't the only time Nebraska's been goofy about high school sports.
Okay.
Because if you're young enough and you drive by the TAC building, you don't know what it was.
Omaha Tech.
Yes.
Johnny Rogers.
Omaha Tech was so good in sports, I heard they closed because people in Omaha were tired of getting their butts kicked.
Whoa.
What?
And they made the athletes move around.
Wow. I'd never heard that before, but they did. It was a long list of some of the best that did go through there for high school.
It would be interesting. It wouldn't be open now because the building's old. But it would have been interesting had they left it open.
Yeah.
You know,
I wonder how.
I never grew up.
Yeah.
I never grew up and saw it. I heard about it, but I never saw it.
Yeah. Well, if you drive on Cumming, you can see the remnants of it that are now the home of OPS.
Gary, I'm going to ask you a question that may offend you.
All right.
Sorry.
I like it. Let's go.
Never
have done it.
Patrick Mahomes giving Texas Tech all this money.
Yeah.
That Texas Tech politician giving all the money up.
Yes.
My question is this.
Okay.
Was Patrick Mahomes any good in college?
Yes, he was.
Good enough to be a $500 million quarterback now? Or
Yeah.
did he get good because Andy Reid got him?
No, he was a really good college quarterback.
So Texas Tech has all this money because they lucked into a guy?
No.
They lucked into a lot of oil.
They have a lot of oil money at Texas Tech, and
Black gold.
they have one sugar daddy who wants Texas Tech to be great in everything.
So what's the commercial?
Well,
why is he freaking everybody out and paying all this money at the same time?
Well, that's a little bit separate. He is the main funneler of cash at Texas Tech, but that's separate from Texas Tech. That's the broadcasting act. It does impact Texas Tech, but it is not Texas Tech specific.
No, but they're going to be. See, now they're going to show up, and nobody's going to get rid of them. Now.
Yeah.
They're going to be permanent now.
They are trending in the right direction. They're 5-0 in football, and they just got a 5-star defensive lineman in the class of 27. I mean, there were some sports they were good before this influx of cash, like men's basketball and baseball. But now they've gotten to the softball championship series. Football, they're unbeaten. Yeah. I mean, they're taking advantage of what has been presented now in college athletics, and they happen to have some big time boosters. We'll see how long. I mean, at some point, if you stop winning, those people that are donating a lot of money are going to want a loud voice. So we'll see. We'll see if people respond, how other schools, if they have the ability to do what Texas Tech is doing, because there'll be some jealousy, and then there'll be some like, man, go get them.
Yeah, that just, the whole thing about, once I found out where that guy went to school, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, we need more pump jacks in Nebraska. Get rid of the windmills, and let's get more pump jacks. Make a little money. Throw it towards Lincoln. Are you with me?
People have been begging for that for years. We are what we are. I'm nervous.
That's true. We're a state of closing in on 2 million that a lot of people have been tapped. So you have to find new revenue sources, and they're trying to do that.
And I can verify that Omaha Westside bought a state championship the year after I graduated.
What year was that? Is that Dan
98.
Young? Oh, okay.
Girls basketball.
They bought a championship.
Yes, they bought a championship.
How did they buy a championship?
Like from the store?
They brought a girl in from Benson.
Okay.
So it's been happening long before now.
Okay.
And we did win a state championship the next year with her.
Okay. Well, I mean,
so it makes me sad that high school football is in the state it's in, but it's been happening.
That's true. That's true.
It was just
It's been
smaller.
happening for a long time. You could live across the street from a school and go to high school in a different county.
Which is unfortunate and sad.
Yeah, because they were really, really good. Yeah. Hey, Mike, we got to move on. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
You got people praying for oil this morning. Please, just let there be a spout in Wahoo.
I mean, I pray for it every day just to pay off my loans. But,
Any pump jacks in Nebraska?
I doubt it. I doubt there's any oil. I feel like if there was any oil here, we would have
Maybe
found
in
it by now.
Southwest Nebraska?
Maybe.
I like how Mike said that, like, they just lucked into having Patrick Mahomes. Like, at this point, don't you just have to kind of luck into hopefully a future billionaire just happened to go to your school and like your sports? Like, it's all luck at this point. Sure, Kansas.
That's pretty much life.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Kansas feels pretty lucky that, they have Booth, and I'm pretty sure that Michigan and Illinois feel lucky they got Ellison. Texas Tech
Shout out David Booth.
feels really
Morning,
lucky
sir.
that Campbell decided to go to Texas Tech as opposed to Baylor.
Ugh.
You know, another thing, the part with this discussion's been going on for a long time, and my Buffett Coke theory is still strong.
I didn't know it was a theory at first.
When they made the move on the campus in Lincoln to get rid of Coke and bring in Pepsi, it pissed off Buffett.
Done a very good. I mean, this has been a theory that has been months in the working for you that you've hinted at.
Here's another thing: is what's the give back from professional athletes to Nebraska, not named Sue?
Not a lot. I mean, not a ton at all. I mean, Jordan Burroughs, right? I mean, he's
the financial part.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess Burroughs for more of like an optics part, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm
just
talking
from a
like
financially,
like Sue has helped, but like the pro athletes that give back, like Mahomes, because of his connection with his I wouldn't say clothing, but his because he got him switched from Under Armour.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes donates a lot to Texas Tech. Where is the former athletes?
Well, I think
that are making big bucks.
I think where are the Nebraska athletes that are making $400 million on one contract? It just, unfortunately, it doesn't exist. It's just not there.
All right. A little bit later, Jay Moore stops by. He's got a lot of money. How come he hasn't given back to Nebraska? He got to the pros from Nebraska, used him. Just kidding. He is a financial supporter of Nebraska athletics. Also, we'll talk some Maryland football with Ed Lee. Malik Washington, good-looking freshman quarterback who will be starting his 6th game of his career against Dylan Raiola and Nebraska. And also John Walker. Talk a little Creighton. His basketball season is now less than a month away. Big East Media Days next week. Big Ten Media Days start today. Next 2 days. Summit League had their media days yesterday. Omaha's 2nd in the preseason. St. Thomas is number 1, eligible for the NCAA tournament for the first time, and the expanded field is 76. Also, Brandon Vogel on 1620 The Zone. Welcome back in. Hour number 2. Jimmy, did you get the caller's name? We want to give him credit.
Steve.
Steve. So Steve says there's a pump jack just north of the Kansas-Nebraska border on the Nebraska side as you're headed south towards Topeka.
Get working.
Representatives from Lincoln are on their way now to hit them up.
We need oil. Why do we need oil? We need a left tackle. That's why.
Done.
Well, okay. So Sean writes in, Landman, have you guys seen the trailer for season 2?
No.
Yes.
Why?
I just
It's
listened
going
to
to
my
be explosive.
I just listened to my first Taylor Swift
Song?
what's the showgirl thing? Night of a Showgirl?
Life of a Showgirl?
Life Showgirl. I just listened to the
There was
first
a movie
three
about it
songs
30 years
yesterday.
ago.
And
Pleasantly surprised.
a lot of people are upset with her, though,
Why?
because they think that it's a very soft album from the standpoint of,
What do they want?
They are-
In Slayer?
well, they wanted her to have a breakup and talk about it. Instead,
just got engaged.
she's in love. See, why can't we be positive?
I was about to
All right,
say
let's be
that's
happy.
ridiculous.
Let's be happy.
The fact that Taylor Swift has to be like depressed and going through an incredibly difficult time in her life for people to be satisfied by her music is insane.
Yeah,
To
but
be
now,
fair,
yeah, to be
there's some
fair,
good
some of
music
some of her
and-
best music has been when it is about her breakups. I don't know. Driving to the game on Saturday, I was listening to music, and stations love themselves some Taylor, and especially after the new album. I like 2 or 3 songs.
Apparently, there's albums here because when before I left the other day,
Really?
they said the Taylor Swift albums are here. It's multiple, plural. So you should go see someone in the building.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah,
Get you an
I'm
album.
glad you enjoyed it. I like her first cut off the album that is being played over and over
Ophelia?
and over. Yes,
That's
like
a
that
pretty
song.
good one.
Yeah.
Ophelia.
but people want her to be
Sad.
in a broken up relationship so she can write better songs.
What-
That's what some of her diehards are saying.
What other
Good time.
industry do you
What if they
have
get
to
divorced?
like be depressed in order to be at your best? Like I feel like that's just such
Broadcasting
a
has
terrible.
always helped me.
This job?
Yeah.
I think I'm better when I'm happy.
You're young.
I know.
Give it time. We were like you
Come-
once.
Covering Nebraska football, you'll understand.
I'm going to conquer the
Kid, hey,
world.
kid, you'll understand.
I guess I haven't experienced. I mean, I'm 5-1 since I've been here. They've been very positive. They've been winning. They're 4-1 now.
They are. Just remind people today that Nebraska football is 4-1. They've shown growth, but they got more growing to do. Okay, just do that. And there's a lot of stats. All right, let's get to get some emails here.
Some of them make sense though. Time to target.
4 and
You
1
like
makes
that
sense.
one. Don't act like you don't like that one. You like time to target.
I think that's hard to judge.
I think it's probably the easiest thing to judge out of everything that PFF does. Isn't it just a stopwatch?
I don't know.
One,
You know what?
1,000,
I think
two,
here's
1,000.
the thing. Hey, good on this fan base that is exposing PFF.
Okay, so
No.
No, no, no.
I'll let you
Wait,
defend it because you are
He's Mr. PFF.
You are a longtime subscriber,
yes, I am.
but I think what has allowed us here, as you know, the world revolves around Dylan. Okay,
Oh, without a doubt.
we're to the point where you can't have a normal conversation about Dylan. And I wonder if his name was Dylan Sharp, what kind of conversation it would be, and if his uncle was not the offensive line coach.
or
I
a
think
radio
so.
host in
I think
Omaha.
where we've gotten, as I've observed from just listening,
Sure.
is the Dylan conversation turns from football to personal. You either don't like him, okay, you don't like his mannerisms, you don't like his uncle, you'd think that he should be playing better consistently. He did not play well on Saturday, and they won a football game. He was better against Michigan. I just dread a bad performance and a loss hosting Big Red Overreaction on Saturday. I think sometimes the Dylan conversation gets into, we start talking about personal. But I just want to read you something. So I think
Okay.
Nebraska fans have looked at PFF and they're like, Now, I've said it from the jump. I've been honest with you. I really only look at PFF to see snaps.
Yes,
Okay.
you said that since week 1.
Yeah. So a guy who is a ball knower and was a ball player in college and the NFL tweeted this out yesterday. I'm so done with PFF and how they score O-line. It's an absolute joke. You can have 39 pass blocking attempts and give up 0 sacks, 0 hits, 0 pressures. They determine how many beaten by defenders, and you somehow get a 43.5% grade. Absolutely F joke.
So
I'd follow him on Twitter. He's a good follow. J Searles 71.
Okay.
Too many stats.
He's pretty
No,
good.
Wait. I think that if you were to watch the football game that happened on Saturday, and you watched it, like you properly watched it, you could look at the grades and be like, that makes sense. That doesn't make sense.
Sure.
That makes sense. That doesn't make sense.
You can do that like every Sunday
And-
when they come out. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't think that you can't, I don't think PFF makes you, I don't think PFF wipes your hands clean of not watching the game. I don't think you can look at PFF, look at the grades, look at the numbers, and get a story of the game. I don't. You still have to like watch it. And there are sometimes like Vincent Shavers against Cincinnati. We saw him and he got a 91, and we're like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
and I think that and more so in the NFL, when they talk about PFF grades, I feel like the people that I listen to talk about the good PFF grades. They're like the players that we know are playing well, and then hey, here are their PFF grades.
Mhm.
I think though you are totally right in the fact that there are some PFF grades where you're like, I saw that guy play. There's no way he got a 90. There's no way he played well. There's no way he's the second best offensive
And there's a
lineman.
hesitation because the person that is grading the film
Yeah.
and putting it into their formula doesn't know the play call.
Yes.
And it kind of got discussed in a roundabout way by the OC yesterday.
And so if somebody goes, I doubt PFF heavily and I doubt those grades, I really don't blame them. Like but at the same time, I think that PFF also provides other stats that aren't subjective. Oh, this guy isn't doing his job, or this guy. No, they provide some stats that are just math. They are just advanced metrics.
That's fair.
They are
And those are the ones that you usually quote.
yes.
So yes.
And that's what I try, like turnover worthy percentage, right? Like, but for real, like if Dylan Raiola throws a ball and the cornerback has it in both of his hands and he drops it, right? I mean, that was a turnover worthy play, right? That, or the Cincinnati fumble, right? Where he's scrambling, he fumbles it, then
Wasn't this a discussion? Did we have this discussion that Friday morning after Cincinnati? Because there were two. There was the interception and the fumble.
No, we had this discussion, I think, after the Akron game. And I was really going heavy on PFF that day. And you kind of gave me a look. And I was like, and then I started giving you more stats that I haven't been using. And you couldn't believe it. But like, okay, another one, like time to target. You can actually just like time like that. You can just actually like 1/1000. Okay, he threw it. Took him 2.7 seconds to throw that ball. Like,
Did he
those
complete
matter.
the pass?
There are
That's all I
some
care
though.
about.
There's some that, like, for example, Gary, I'm looking at the Nebraska-Michigan State game, the pass blocking grades, right? How many hurries do you think the offensive line got credited for?
14.
They got credited with 1.
Okay.
Because I think now I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming how this works is that once you get over a certain time, it's no longer a hurry. Like the quarterback should have gotten rid of the ball already. So like, but you can't watch the game and tell me that Dylan Raiola only got hurried once.
Mm-hmm. So Chris writes into the Equitable Bank inbox where they take banking personally, answer the call in the first ring. Old man Doug and the whole gang there, 2 great locations here in Omaha and proud partners of 1620 The Zone. I could be wrong, but I think so far this year, he's over for 2 on trying to throw underhand passes. If I never see that again, it will be too soon. That is about Dylan. Okay, let's do this about Dylan. Now, and you can slap back at me.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm a little bit sarcastic, but I also think I have a good pulse here. That the discussion about Dylan this week has been really interesting, is the best way to describe it, because he didn't play well against Michigan State. They still won. The week before he played well, they lost. The offensive line didn't play well. The conversation is about him and his uncle.
Yeah.
Rule defends him. Anybody that's trying to convince Rule to touch the third rail about his quarterback or his offensive line coach, you are running into a wall. He's not going to go there. Okay. He is handcuffed to his quarterback, and there is going to be no discourse about his quarterback that some of you would like to happen. Now,
Zero.
I would like him to hold accountable like his OC holds him accountable. But if you took out any stats, and I'm even talking about the mistakes that he has kept to the minimum, but, because everybody knows the numbers, completion percentage. Completion percentage is batting average in Major League Baseball. We need to stop with that. Okay? Yards per attempt is my big one.
Well, Average depth of target.
Okay,
I'm
that
gonna-
is not completion percentage.
But
No, I'm completion percentage and batting average are the same thing nowadays.
oh, wait. I agree with that because if you're just check down Charlie and you are throwing the ball 4 or 5 yards every
you're
time,
pushing back on that.
well,
Why?
I'm pushing back because if I throw a ball to you, right,
Yeah.
down the line of scrimmage,
Yeah.
and Isaiah Hunter, right, had a 59-yard touchdown. Okay. How YPA works is that you take the yards that you got and you take the amount of attempts and you slash that, you divide it, right? And so then you get your yards per attempt. So Dylan technically had a YPA on that play of 59 yards, but he only threw the ball 1 yard. That was a check down. So he gets
a lot of those even out though.
I mean, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, like if you're a quarterback and you're bombing the ball deep over and over and over again, like and you only attempt 10 passes out of 19, but those 10 passes went for 110 yards. You completed 11 yards per pass, right? You were throwing the ball deep, but your YPA is only going to be like 5. So that's why I think ADOT, because it actually measures how far the ball is going, is better.
But that stat is not available to the regular fan.
Yes, that is okay. Good point.
So take out the stats of Dylan. Just watch Dylan play 5 games into the season, 18 games into his career as a starting quarterback at Nebraska. How's he playing?
Good.
Don't look at stats.
Good.
Don't look at 74%. I think he's at 74%.
Good.
Okay.
I think he's good.
Okay. All right.
Do you think there are people who would disagree with me saying that?
No, it has nothing to do with you.
Okay.
It's the Dylan. Maybe it's because we're in the middle of the week and now it's okay. We've beaten the offensive line and running the football into the ground. Now let's talk about Dylan. But I only bring this up because Holgerson, I think, subtly yesterday talked a lot about Dylan and kind of bringing him back in PFF. Does PFF account for the OC called the wrong play?
No.
Okay. So that's why I'm like, okay, PFF doesn't know the play call.
Sure.
They don't know the play call and if it matches exactly what they ran. But Holgerson kind of, I think Dana is holding, first of all, he's holding everybody accountable, including himself, which is refreshing. Okay. It's the Coordinator Tuesdays is good discussion.
I agree.
Those are two like wily veterans that have been through it that aren't afraid to say anything. They'll be a little bit different from Rule. Rule sometimes can be a little buttoned up, and he isn't going to go there. His OC and DC are like,
go there.
You know what? You ask a good question, I'll give you a good answer. I think Dylan is playing well enough for Nebraska to have success.
Yeah.
Do I think Dylan can play better consistently? Yes. Do I wonder what Saturday looks like with a team that will try and get to him? Well, it could look good. Saturday to me seems like a day where if you're trying to figure out if Dylan Raiola is 2 years out from what he would look like possibly playing in the NFL, Saturday would be a good assessment because of guys he's going to face. And he's also going to face a defensive coordinator who is another NFL guy.
Also, to that point, you've brought this, and we've talked about this before. If Dylan ends up becoming like the quarterback that we think he can become and the draft pick that we think he can become.
What if he is that quarterback right now?
Like he doesn't get any better?
What if he is just at this level?
I think if he's just at this level, then Nebraska needs to add some more weapons to eventually get to the CFP. But I don't, if he stays at this level, I'd be unhappy that, don't get me wrong, I'd be unhappy if he didn't improve. If he did not get better from just being a good quarterback, I would be unhappy about it. But I don't think that you're still going to be able to win games. Like Dylan Raiola is a winning quarterback. Like he can win with how he plays now. So I'd be okay with that, I guess.
Does he play like a 5-star quarterback in his 18 starts?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. But I do think, though, he has like improved and there have been signs that he is getting there and he's actually taking steps there.
Would the discussion about Dylan be different if he was chucking the ball down the field and turning it loose?
Yes, it would be. Because it would be.
I kind of led you into that, but that's.
It would be. No, it would be because it'd be more exciting. And it would be like, and I think that there is there's a belief maybe that you can turn a guy down as opposed to turn a guy up, right? You can take a guy like Josh Allen, who's bombing the ball deep, who's making these explosive plays, and you can tell him, hey, just bring it back a little bit and manage it. I think it might be a little bit tougher to take a guy who's a little conservative and tell him, hey, you got to have more confidence and you got to rip it deep.
All right. I also yesterday I brought up Kevin Gallick.
You did.
Okay. I just want to bring up one other guy that doesn't even get mentioned. Nebraska still has a quarterback coach. His name's Glenn Thomas. Did anybody know that?
Yes, I think people do that.
When was the last time his name was mentioned?
When we were talking about Trey Taylor. I got to wait before we go. Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah,
Because
sure.
I think it was an interesting point. No. It was an interesting point that you made. And I want to have this quick convo. You said the discourse around Dylan is a little weird.
Yeah, because it becomes personal.
Okay.
It becomes personal because you don't like his style. You don't like his uncle. You don't like the
uncle, I agree.
You don't like the fact that he holds onto the ball too long, and now you're upset at the offensive line, but you really should be upset. It's be nice to have a nice, clean game on Saturday in a road game where Nebraska offensively, they move the ball, they score, and your quarterback's not on the ground or he is holding on the ball too long. I think we're shifting here because I think the expectations have, when you raise the ceiling, you raise individual expectations.
Without a doubt.
5-star quarterback, $3 million. Hey, for Nebraska to get to where they want to go, man, Dylan's got to be bang, bang, bang. He's got to play on that level. If he's not playing on that level every single Saturday, but yet Nebraska wins, well, okay, Nebraska won, yeah, but what about Dylan? I mean, there's fair discussions about Dylan and just his ability about playing quarterback when he is under duress. I do fear that this weekend because I think they will throw a lot at him.
Oh, God.
But I also think that the guy that is running the offense for Nebraska that's got a headset on will throw a lot at Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think the screen game will be on full tilt on Saturday in College Park. But it just, I don't know. I was bouncing around yesterday listening to numerous shows on this radio station and others.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because Nebraska hasn't had a celebrity quarterback. And they've got a celebrity quarterback. And we talk about him differently than any other quarterback. Because at some point you're talking about Adrian, you're like, well, Adrian is what he is. Oh, the coach is screwing him over. You know?
But also too, Nebraska hasn't had a quarterback that is like getting $3 million.
It's a celebrity quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like I think the financial aspects play into it too. I think what's so interesting when you say weird, I immediately think it's funny that the discourse to Dylan this week was similar to what it was after the Michigan game, even though he had a much better Michigan game than he did against Michigan State. Because he threw for 300 yards and we were still having some of these similar conversations. And but he had 3 touchdowns and played a very good game. And then he actually does play a bad game. Yet I don't think the heat turned up as much as maybe I anticipated it would turn up to. But I think to just what we talked about, he's good. He's just good. He's a good quarterback. You hope he gets better. And if he doesn't get better, then it becomes incumbent upon you to try and raise his floor by adding more weapons around him.
All right. We'll take a break. Come back. Jay Moore coming up at the top of the hour with thoughts aplenty on Michigan State. Now head to Maryland. Offense, defense, special teams, Dylan. They all go together. 1620 zone. All right, welcome in on a Wednesday. By the way, go to our website, 1620thezone.com. The four-quarter pick'em is open, wide open, which we have not talked about. The Nebraska pass defense, they've not had wide open. Good quarterback and wide receivers this weekend for Maryland, not just Malik Washington. They've got some nice pass catchers.
Why? When you say wide open, I just think of Gus Johnson immediately. Of down the sideline, wide open. I mean, it's funny. So watching the Maryland tape, you're right, athletic on the outside. Washington, to me, doesn't like. I'm not enamored by him. I'm not like, holy crap, like he's the second coming of anything. I am impressed though with his presence within the pocket. Like he's 10 toes down for a freshman. I think that's wildly impressive that he can kind of man his zone. I do think it's one of those things when you look at some of the statistics and then you compare it to what you watch. I don't think it's fully paired up. Like we've talked about this. I don't think that now these are other stats, right? But I don't know if some of the things that you look at in terms of numbers fully reflect how dynamic they can be at times. But I think also in that Washington game, like when you blow a 20-3 lead, you have some issues, right? And there are possibilities and opportunities for a really good pass offense to just completely shut down. So I think they definitely have the ability to, make Nebraska pay, in my opinion. But I also don't think it's going to be a walk in the park for them because Nebraska's secondary is awesome.
You can go to our website, 1620thezone.com, for the four-quarter pick'em. That is open as well. And while you're there, register to win 2 tickets for the next time Nebraska's home. Remember, no pregame show for the next 2 games because they're on the road. We'll be back for the Northwestern game, and you can be there at the Ultimate Blur Tailgate Party. Just go to our website for both of those things and many more goodies at 1620thezone.com. So you want to talk quarterbacks or salaries?
Salaries.
USA Today has had a busy morning because today is the day that they release the database for how much each head coach is being paid. Matt Rule is the 15th highest paid coach in the country. His base salary is the same as James Franklin. But who are college football's most overpaid coaches?
Okay. One has to be Belichick.
That is correct. Belichick makes $10 million. North Carolina's 2-3. Losses to TCU, Central Florida, and Clemson haven't been competitive, and I think he's made some poor hires.
Okay.
And now they've got a staff member who is being investigated by the NCAA. As things start to unravel because of illegal benefits, and Hulu is not doing their show.
Isn't the point of a documentary to like post whatever, like no matter the outcome, like you record and you post it? Like it's not much of a documentary.
But I think as a team, like isn't this kind of like Hard Knocks? Like Hard Knock, the team has control, and so they don't allow Hard Knocks to just crush you. HBO, you kind of have some editorial control over what goes out, and I think in a Belichick situation, they agreed to Hulu that they would do something to bring positive things to light. Man, just imagine if you were like the producer and you spent like the last 2 months with them, you're trying to find positive stuff. You're like, I don't think we can bring any good stuff to light.
But I mean, that's to
somebody one day will release the footage that has already been filmed.
To think though that something could be so bad though that you just completely scrap the project, considering the fact that Hard Knocks has done like the Cleveland Browns before they've had terrible seasons, and like they have done. Like they literally did the Bears, and the Bears ended up firing their coach like 8 weeks later. Like it's that's a new level of suck if they have to completely cut that thing.
Yeah, I think it's probably the North Carolina and Hulu were together, and they were going to do it to use it as a recruiting vehicle, and there was really nothing good that's going on. I'll tell you, talk about Belichick making hires. Mike Lombardi, colossal fail.
Well, it was
as their general manager. Did they not learn anything from Herm Edwards and that model at Arizona State?
We are now in by the way, for the last 5 years in both the NFL and in college, Bill Belichick just has no finger on the pulse when it comes to hiring coaches, assigning coaches to spots, recruiting players, acquiring players, and putting those players.
Yeah, I think I think legacy and reputation are different here. His legacy is secure. What he did
Yes.
in the NFL, 6-time Super Bowl champion. He's got 8 rings. 73 years of age. I don't know what he was trying to accomplish coming back to college, but his reputation in college is, I don't know what the end game is going to be like for this. So Belichick is on this list. Lincoln Riley is on this list. Lincoln Riley clapped back at Sharon Moore yesterday.
What did he say?
So Sharon Moore, because the Coliseum for Michigan USC is sold out this weekend, and he said it's because of Michigan.
Yes,
He's not wrong.
And Lincoln Riley says, I don't care what he says. He's not wrong. Big game for both. Great weekend in the Big Ten. Also on this list, Luke Fickell.
Yeah, God, yeah.
No.
Is Dabo on that list yet in terms of overpaid? Okay,
Nope.
I didn't know if they
Nope.
maybe jumped the gun in terms of having a bad start.
Fickell is making $7.8 million in total compensation. Deal runs through 31. Current buyout $27.5 million. 7-6, 5-7, 2-3, and they host Iowa. Huge game in Madison for Bucky. Billy Napier is on this list at 21-22 overall.
Is Pittman on that list?
He's not.
Oh, sorry, he got fired already.
His house is up for sale. Very nice.
And then also on this list that if they lose to Georgia this weekend, I wonder if they make a move down on the plains. Hugh Freeze. This could be a weekend in the SEC.
Interesting.
Like, let's say Florida loses. They're like
Gone.
Hugh Freeze loses. Won't happen this weekend. But the loser of the LSU South Carolina game, that heat gets turned up big time.
Sure.
I don't think Brian Kelly's in danger of, but Mr. Beamer could be in trouble. Could be an interesting weekend in the SEC. But here's through coaches, because now we're into this season of, okay, we've had some coaches fired. Could be a busy weekend after football is played on Saturday. I think if I had a coach and I was stuck with them, I would want somebody to come poach my coach. That's what Penn State, actually, the ideal situation is right now, is somebody comes poach my coach. So Franklin needs a reset. And he may go somewhere else, and you'll be like, yeah, he's a good football coach. He just was not the right football coach after he had early success at Penn State. Okay, they never grew. They couldn't get over the hump. They get to the semifinals, but they couldn't. They were running a marathon where they stopped at the 25th mile. Okay, but the marathons are 26.2.
Yes,
is that right?
But there are some people who run a marathon and they stop at 18. And so at least got to 25.
Yeah, because you got to the semifinals.
Exactly.
But if you are stuck with your coach, and it's, like Bo, who ironically, Penn State one time, I guess, was interested. Miami was interested. You kind of want somebody to come poach your coach. Okay? You don't have to make the move.
Sure.
They make the move. And you look at a guy that you're tied with and you go, good luck.
Yeah.
That's great. So Penn State might be okay with somebody poaching their coach. So it's not as pricey. And then they get a reset and you get a reset. Some guys might be on this list. Now, let me give you the most underpaid college football coaches. So this is USA Today does this. They do that in college football and college basketball. They have the middle of the week, middle of the season. We do all the database on salaries of the public colleges.
Can I make one guess?
Let me scroll through the list, and so I'm ready for it. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I think I can get one on here for sure. Is it Rhett Lashley? Is he on there?
That's a good call. He is not.
Okay,
but that's there's somebody that is not very far away from his campus that is on here.
Oh, is it the dang it? What's his name? The Texas State head coach?
No, North Texas.
North Texas.
Denton. So Eric Morris is making 1.4, and the Mean Green are unbeaten.
Hell yes.
Yeah. So I didn't know this. Eric Morris,
sneaky good broadcasting program.
Really?
Too big of a basketball arena. I've done a couple of games there. Their football stadium.
The new one's nice.
I saw half of a game last year there. It's right off of 35. It's gigantic, but it just it's an odd campus.
Yeah.
But they have a nice Buc-ee's there in Denton.
Yes.
Eric Morris has recruited Cam Ward and John Mateer.
Really?
Yeah. He's a quarterback whisperer.
Okay. Good for him.
So he's on this list. Okay.
Kleiman?
No.
Okay. Leipold?
By the way, Chris Kleiman, hey, you
Mhm.
you know how your opinion changes of your head coach?
Mhm.
Your talented quarterback, not very good.
Mhm.
Avery Johnson is on a list of the 10 most disappointing quarterbacks in college football this
17
year.
days. Get
Well,
that ass
I'll
ready.
say this: I like Chris Kleiman. How he handled that Baylor Kansas State game at the very end was absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious.
Matt Campbell,
Okay, that dang it! I was in the area. I was there. That's frustrating.
in the poverty program in Ames, he makes $5 million.
Wow.
He is 8th in the Big 12. You guys like to guess who is the top earner in the Big 12? Might not, probably won't surprise you.
Top earner in the Big 12. McGuire? Joey?
Dion.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dion makes 8.9. Mike Elko is on this list. Hey,
good one.
they finally hired a guy that didn't want to win the press conference, just wanted to win football games.
Which they've needed.
Texas A&M Florida is a sneaky game this weekend. I like Texas A&M. I like they got a
Okay.
quarterback. They play well defensively.
Love Kyle
He's just a
Field.
football guy who wears a size 8 hat, a fitted hat.
Not judging, but yeah.
He wears a size 8?
So when Trev came back to the College World Series with Texas A&M 2 years ago, Mike Elko went and visited Trev, and Mike Elko and his wife were in the suite. And I asked Trev about his football
Big
coach,
hats.
and I looked at, and I was like, "Damn, that noggin is
A
humongous.
size 8.
Like it is a gigantic
Sputnik.
head.
His
It's mammoth." But he won. You know, Mike Elko. Sometimes you're just a good football coach who you're not going to win a press conference because you don't speak fluently.
no.
You kind of look rugged. You're a bigger fella. He won 16 games at Duke, and you know you look at last year. Texas A&M was in the mix
You were.
to get to Atlanta all the way towards the end of the year,
Mhm.
and now they're number 5 in the country at 5-0. So finally, all of the money they have in College Station, and they actually have more money than God. Now I don't know what God's bank account looks like, and God might do everything for free. I don't know.
South Bend and
I haven't-
Texas are different.
I haven't visited, so I'm not sure.
But
But
property taxes in heaven. I don't know.
we always say Texas A&M has all this money and they can recruit, and they got Jimbo and they're slick, and you know what?
8 and
They're
4.
selling cars and they got pump jacks going. Now they got a football coach. They got a football coach in Mike Elko, so he's on this list. Brent Key is on this list.
Look at the size of that boy's head.
This is a dumb one, but he might have signed an extension. Is Freeman on the list?
He is not.
Okay.
Here is somebody on the list.
I'm 0 for on this.
Kurt Signetti.
See, but I thought he got an extension.
So he does. I'm reading the little blurb in the USA Today. He earns $8.3 million this year. He is 6th. Think about that. Hey, good on the Big Ten. If you're making $8.3 million
And
and
you're
you are 6th, good job, Big Ten. Way to spend the TV money.
See, here's my thing though. Like, if you are the highest paid coach is Kirby
Whoa,
Smart.
one quick thing.
Go ahead.
I finish here with this.
Sorry.
Signetti's buyout,
Yeah.
$57 million.
Jeez.
Hell yes.
Good for him.
Well, if
Good
they
for
I
lose
think
it,
he's safe.
they lose against Oregon, at Indiana, AD is going to have to go looking for
Get out of
Cuban.
here. Get out of here. You sound like me. I don't know. This is me. This is me being me. I can
A
never,
new segment on the show.
No. I just this is me being human here. Like, I can never look at a guy who makes $8 million a year and say you're underpaid. You know, like you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the
I think
highest.
they're looking at the return on investment.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Like,
but you're absolutely right.
yeah, like the second highest paid coach gets $11 million. Like you're not why, like it's not like Kurt Signetti's like eating scraps. Like he's getting like 0, you know? Like I feel like that list of like underpaid coaches is made for your Kinneys, is made for your Morrises, is made for your, you know, your I wonder what Dan Mullen, like what is he making at UNLV? You know, like I don't think you could look at a guy who makes $7 million and be like, oh, you're wildly underpaid, my man.
16-2.
That's crazy.
Double figure underdog at Oregon. And Signetti was smart yesterday. They tried to get him to go there about NIL resources compared to Oregon.
Okay.
Didn't go there.
Good for him.
Here is Eric on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Good morning, E.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I just had a question. You guys were talking about, coaches getting fired and everything, and you talked about Franklin. With Buell's best friend AD at Penn State, I know he's planted his roots here, but what are the odds of him going back to East Coast?
I think they're low, Eric, in my opinion. I think first off, the buyout for Franklin is really, really high. And I don't know if they'd be, I mean, they probably could scrap money to do it, but I don't know if they would. And on top of that, Eric, Matt Rule's a 64-57 head football coach. He hasn't been at a place for longer than 4 years. He hasn't won a conference championship. He hasn't been to, a national championship. He hasn't been to the college football playoff. Like, I don't get me wrong. I think Matt Rule's a good coach, but I just think they're probably better candidates out there with a better resume and have proven that they can get to a winning level at a higher rate than Matt Rule at this point.
Eric, thanks for the phone call.
Something against Matt.
Head coach in Nebraska and the head coach at Penn State make the same base salary.
But,
good on Nebraska. Hello.
Well,
we complained for so long. Now let's look at those assistant salaries. But Nebraska's paying their tight end coach a lot of money.
Well, they're paying their
people
OC
forget
and
that
DC a lot of money.
You know what? I'm going to add that to my list of things that are nice to have in a 4-1 start to the season. We're not fretting about turnovers. We're not fretting about penalties, even though they're there, but they're not as prevalent as they used to be. We're not fretting over special teams. And we haven't brought up Satterfield's salary in a long time.
No, we haven't.
I mean, this is progress. Progress.
I honestly have forgotten about him.
At this
so you
point,
mentioned him the other day.
Well, so there are 2 assistant coaches. And because they're upstairs.
Yeah.
Like you see Addison Williams. But nobody talks about Glenn Thomas or Marcus Satterfield. Nobody.
Do you know who's a guy that we don't talk about either? Rob Dvorak is rarely ever mentioned. Like that's another. Now he's less on the important scale maybe, and less on like but that's a dude too, where it's like, it's not. I think Rob's awesome. Like I think he's a great dude. But that's another. Like there are coaches where it's just like we don't really talk about them, like at all. We don't bring them up.
You know why? Because I think there's more positivity towards the coordinators.
And
there's one particular position coach that draws all of the energy out of any discussion about Nebraska football.
Well, Donovan Raiola. But I do think that's just because he is the longest tenured guy that doesn't have the best group. And so I think that's just kind of like the easiest. Like we equate the longer somebody is in a position, the better that position should be. Right? If you're there, Terry Braden from this perspective kind of gets, I don't want to say he gets a hall pass or anything like that, but we don't nearly scrutinize him as much just because, it's his first year. These aren't necessarily his guys, so on and so forth. But I also do think too, when you're a 4-1 football team, I don't know how many position coaches you can really go after and say, they're doing a terrible job. Like I think most positions on Nebraska are playing well.
Yeah, except for one that needs more consistency. And why does it take during the course of the season to get better instead of right away when you have that amount of returning talent?
I think
or returning starts and experience. That's a fair question.
Do you think in your analysis, Gary, that they are like worse to begin the season than they were to end the season the year prior?
Sometimes it's who's
there,
who's coming in and out, but I need more consistency.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but from the jump, it'll be this. This is a key game this weekend. I don't just overlook and go, it's Maryland. I think this is a pretty important game for. Let's just check where Nebraska is halfway through the season in the first road game. Of things Maryland does that you can take advantage of and things Maryland does well that also match what you do. And I think this. So it became a discussion yesterday. What travels to road games?
Yeah.
I said defense. Pack your defense. I'm going to say special teams.
Oh,
I have more of a comfort level because Nebraska has special teams that I think will travel well to anywhere this year. Because you're going to have a game where you're only going to score 21. You're going to have a game where you're going to give up 35.
I think those special teams, like to your point, is going to travel well because what is special teams like? What makes a great special teams? Intelligence and effort. And they have an incredibly intelligent human who is their special teams coordinator, who's doing his best Babe Ruth impression and calling out a bunch of different things that they're going to do. And for the most part, they end up doing it. And then they have just a cultural buy-in of, hey, we're going to tell Jameer Khan, hey, you're going to block this punt this week. And he's actually going to get on the line, run as fast as he possibly can, and make the play.
All right, we'll take a break. Jay Moore's coming up at the top of the hour. By the way, if you are a bodyguard at Colorado for Deion Sanders during games, the big guy that wears the cowboy hat, Michael, makes $49K. Colorado now has 57 coaches and support staff.
Jeez.
The title of Michael Rhodes is Private Security to the Head Coach.
Do you think Big Dom has to reset the market for Michael?
More people should have Big Dom. You know what? The Cowboys, that doctor that wears the cowboy hat?
Oh, yeah.
Why isn't he Big Dom? Everybody should have a Big Dom.
Why isn't he one of the coaches?
The Cowboys should actually have a real cowboy on the sidelines.
Thank you. Bum Phillips coached the wrong team.
All right, Jay Moore's coming up in just a bit here on 1620 The Zone. All right, as we wrap up this hour, a little nugget out of Summit League Media Days, where Omaha is second behind St. Thomas. Really bummer news because love the family and really, really good family. Josiah Doetzler is out for the year again for South Dakota. So the Bellevue West star, who's, was great in high school, went to Creighton. Then he transferred to St. Louis, suffered a knee injury, tore his ACL last week. And so for the second straight year, he will miss a season of college basketball. He was going to play at South Dakota. He was going to be a key person for the Yotes, but heard that news yesterday, and that's a bummer because I'm a big Doetzler family fan, and especially Josiah, because I was looking forward to seeing him play healthy, but he is out for the season. Big Ten Media Days begin today and tomorrow. Is Nebraska there tomorrow?
I believe
It's Rink Maston, Sam Hoiberg, who now begins his 19th
Nice.
year of college basketball.
Recruited by
think
Danny
it's
Nee.
that
Nebraska.
long. I think he's actually been a pretty standard 5-year guy, if I'm not mistaken. Did you see the team picture they took the other day?
Yeah, they got a lot of staff members.
They
Yeah.
There are a lot of staff members in Nebraska basketball. Who do they think they are? Football?
Who do they think they are? Colorado football? They got 57 dudes out there. No, I know this. I've known this fact, but I still was taken aback when I saw 2 Sam Hoibergs in the picture. Because that's his twin brother.
AI? Oh.
No, it's his twin brother who's on the coaching staff. But it still gave me the heebie-jeebies a little bit because Sam's brother looks almost exactly like him.
Twins.
But sometimes you got twins and you can still tell them apart.
Right.
Like,
I've seen
the
the movie.
They are 2 of the toughest twins to tell apart I think I've seen.
Women today, men tomorrow. Thank you, Jacob Bigelow.
Remember him.
Thanks, Bigelow.
Biggs was at the Central prep game.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Biggs was at Summit League Media Day.
Man loves
No,
ball.
I don't think so. I don't think he was
He
there.
does love ball. I wouldn't put it past him for him to try and get a media pass and go. Do you know what he told me once? He told me he's like mid-major basketball is college basketball how God intended it to be.
I like that.
He
I like
loves
that too.
I like
mid-major
that.
basketball.
He's a ball knower.
Oh, yes.
He's a ball knower.
All right, Jay Moore, who chased the balls.
Sorry.
He was a Russian.
Sorry.
He'll join us next on 1620 The Zone. All right, Black Spirit Wednesday, and he is relieved to be away from Steve Sipple and join us. We welcome in Jay Moore. Nicely done last night. Whenever Sip joins you, Damon, and Sean and Michael, that's a good show. I enjoyed it last night once again.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it gets a little squirrely. Sip gets everyone riled up when he rolls in there. A lot of inside jokes going on between everybody, but no, he comes on and he has a wealth of knowledge, and we like to utilize him for that, but also for some comedic relief at times as well.
Yeah. All right, let's just hop right into this because I'm going to frame this differently. What's the fix to getting more consistent offensive line, pass pro, and run blocking?
Yeah. I think it can be it can be rather complicated. I think.
Let's walk through this because it's not just a tackle. It's like 5 up front, the guy that's calling and the play caller, all that stuff. So let's walk through this.
Well, there's a lot. I mean, a lot of it's situational. Defenses are taught. I look at it from a defensive perspective. Formations are key. Now you're 5 games in. Defenses have a good hit chart. We call them hit charts on plays they like to use, tendencies they like to go to. This is time of the year where you got to start using some tendency breakers where you start running plays outside of your formations and what you like to do outside of your scope of how you like to attack things. But I mean, it's even as simple as Damon and I kind of hit on it briefly in the show last night is you like to run the ball out of shotgun a lot. Rarely are we underneath center, every now and then. But putting that back in the pistol where the back is right behind the running back, that is more complicated for the defense to try to figure out because when a running back is offset, you start giving tells to how you like to do things, especially when you use the tight end in motion. And they like to use that a lot with Harburg or Lindenmeyer coming across the formation and kind of kicking out a linebacker or defensive end. But a lot of times in pass pro, this all goes hand in hand. The center always goes away from the back in shotgun formation. So that kind of tips your hat to where the line's sliding and protection for picking up blitzes and picking up pass rush. So if defenses are smart, and they are, and defensive coordinators, D-line coaches know this, they're going to call certain pass rush games, and they know if the back's offset to the right, to the defense's right, the center is going to slide to their left. So we're not going to, if the stunt was ran to the left, we're going to check it because we're going to run to the right because we want to run our pass. We want to run our D-line stunts to 2-man side, not the 3-man side. So it's stuff as simple as that. It's very, very simple. That's why running out of the pistol is a little better because you can't quite get that tell, even in passing. But you're not tipping your cap to what side of the formation that running back is offset to, where they like to go. But it's simple things like that. But also Nebraska's got to do a better job of just picking up. Teams are going to run simulated pressures. They're going to bring pressure. Maryland's going to pressure the hell out of Dillon. And they got to do a better job picking it up. And that comes from the running back, the tight ends, the guards, and the tackles. They got to do a better job communicating and knowing who has who. And a lot of times you got to, it's MDM, most dangerous man. And if you're that guy, hey, just getting a hand on a hip just to make him redirect him by a foot can mean the difference between a sack and getting the ball off to Dane Key, Ja'Cory Barney, and Isaiah Hunter for a 5-10 yard gain. So it's little things like that. But Nebraska's got to do a better job of just getting in rhythm. That game was really, really hard to get in a rhythm. You get the blocked punt for a touchdown. They had a great rhythm starting off the game. They don't really touch the ball for a long time in the second quarter because Michigan State goes on that long drive to score. And then after the turnovers going to the wind, things just kind of got hectic and Dillon got a little flustered. But I think this offense is so rhythm based, and as the majority of offenses are, and they just got to get in a good rhythm. Let Dillon use some short intermediate passes to get there. He's got to. I mean, let's be honest. Dillon's got to have a little more sense of urgency and show a little more suddenness. Step in the pocket and get rid of the ball. He still has the tendency to hang on to it too long, but just little things. I think they run the ball better. I mean, we got to take the sack yardage out of it. It's improved. I'll give them that, but it's got to fit together. The flow's got to fit together, and right now they're kind of hit or miss. They're all or nothing right now. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's really bad. And you'd like to see that get cleaned up, obviously, headed into what now the fifth or sixth game of the season.
So yesterday, Dana Holgerson was talking about the run game, and he kind of addressed the fact, and Gary and I had talked about it, that, Emmett Johnson only had 13 carries, and he was incredibly efficient, but they just weren't able to get him the ball a lot in the run game. And he made a very good point, Jay. He goes, look, we were behind the sticks. When you keep getting sacked there behind the sticks, like, we got to throw the ball more. Do you think that should call for more first down runs, or is that kind of a just where you're at in the game type deal? Is that more of a reactionary call, or what's your say on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got to win on first down. You
Yeah.
want to be in 2nd and 5 or less if you can. I will say, and this is just football 101. When Nebraska gets some of those interceptions by Singleton right in the midfield, and you're going into the wind, what do they want? And this as a defense, when a sudden change happens like that and the ball's in the middle of the field, offenses are going to want to take a shot. And Nebraska tried to do that on, I can't remember if it was the first or second one, and Dylan gets sacked. So all of a sudden, boom, you're behind the sticks. So yeah, I get it. But it doesn't have to be necessarily a run. It just has to be more of a high percentage throw. Maybe getting Dylan out of the pocket. I love the play action boot with getting Emmett Johnson out of the backfield. I mean, you can almost call that just a different form of a toss play. But using Lindemeyer, Harg, and just simple bootleg, just getting it to them, and it's a 4 or 5 yard gain. 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4 as a defense, they could do anything. Because even if you run the ball on 2nd and 4 and 5, you get 3, you're still ahead of the sticks. You're in a great situation. So, yeah, it's all situational, very, very situational. But you got to take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt. But I would like to see Nebraska have a little more success, as every OC would want to be. It's like, we got to win on first down, and as a defense, you got to win on. You're telling yourself you got to win on first down. You got to get them in second and predictable, third and predictable to what they're going to do, and that's third and long. So that's a cat and mouse game. But yeah, I think winning on first down, Nebraska's got to do a little bit better job of that, because when they get successful, I mean, they're able to march the ball down the field to everybody. Now, when they get in the red zone, it's a different story. But even against the teams they played this year, and they're winning on first down, man, it's they're off and running.
Hey, we're seeing a lot of young guys play, and I mean, freshmen, redshirt freshmen, sophomores on the defense. So we're kind of we're in the middle of 2025, but we're seeing what the 2026 defense can look like. Why do you think some of the young guys, whether it be a Merritt to a Guthrie with a Winery in between, like, they're playing and they look comfortable? Like,
Yeah.
Guthrie got a welcome to college football moment against Michigan, but was better against Michigan State. Why do you think the younger guys are sliding in and they don't look like they're out of, like a fish out of water?
Yeah, I think there's multiple things. I think first and foremost, you brought that question up. Majority of them are coming in a semester early. I think that helps. So they're getting a spring ball. They're getting 15 extra practices. They're getting acclimated to the college campus, to the workload, to the life. When you come into there in the summer, as the majority of kids used to do, you weren't taking summer school. You're just kind of working out, and all of a sudden, boom, the season hits, and you're like, holy smokes, this is a whole new world. And you got classes, and just the extra effort you have to put forward to football is different. They get acclimated to that, so they're used to that once the fall semester hits. But I think good coaching staffs in Coach Rule, Coach Butler, I think they know how to handle the players and put them in good situations. I think everyone is after the Michigan game, they had to kind of go back to the drawing board and say, hey, maybe we weren't doing the necessary things. Maybe we were getting a little too complicated and putting our guys in lose-lose situations. And we want to be able to put these guys in a situation where they know they can fit in the run game better. They know where their help is. They know where they fit in the pass game in certain route tree combinations and coverages, and they can communicate it well. But I think at this level, college coaches can get a little over their skis too much and get too excited and get a little too confident in their players and put them in, I always call them conflict, where sometimes you don't need to do that. Good coaches can kind of say, hey, you can kind of check your ego at the door and say, hey, I want to do this because I know what I'm doing, but does it help my players if they can't execute on the field? So I think that's kind of what you saw a little bit in the Michigan State game was they had a bye week to kind of readdress things. I mean, Aware's had his best game. Guthrie played much better. I just think they simplified it a little bit more. When you simplify things and get guys kind of, one gap responsibilities going from B to A as a D lineman or C to B, and you're not worrying about crisscrossing and just all these different things. You play the run game more inside out. I think they did more of that against Michigan State. It just helps simplify things, and everyone can fit off of that. And when you have the best tackler in the universe, and that's the sideline to your help, that makes everyone play a little better, a little faster as well.
There was one sack. I think it might have been the first one of that terrible drive where you had the lineman, and forgive me, but I think he was either lined up in a 4 or 5 technique on the outside of Pritchett, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes ahead, and Pritchett's expecting him to come and engage him, and he ends up hitting the guard, right? And Pritchett leaves. He goes toward the inside. He follows the guy that went toward the guard, and then a free rusher comes on the outside, hits Dylan, right?
Yep.
Michigan State was doing some things up front too. They were kind of stunning as well, and it just looked to me, Jay, that there were multiple studs throughout the game that Michigan State was throwing at Nebraska that they were just confused, that they didn't know where guys were going to end up, and just improper communication ended up to Dylan either getting sacked or being pressured. Is like, what does that boil down to? Is that a coaching thing? Is that a player thing? Is that a preparation thing? Like, how, from a player's perspective, how do you fix that?
Well, it's everything. I think it's execution, playing, and coaching thing.
Yeah.
It's everybody's responsible, but I think that one you're referring to. So I just said like MDM, most dangerous man. So when you have pressures, you always are taught as linemen, and this is even on a punt protection team, you block it inside out. You always want to take care of the inside first. You always want to leave the outside guy because he is got the furthest distance to go. So I think on one of those plays that you're referring to, the outside guy came free. I don't know if the protection was slid the wrong way, if it was supposed to slide to the left and it got slid to the right. But if it was slid to the right, they're bringing 6 and you only got 5. Sometimes that's on the quarterback too. You got to understand that situation and be like, hey, I'm seeing this guy. Where's my hot route out? Where is Emmett? Where's Lindemeyer? Where's Harburg? Where's someone that's in a hook to curl zone in the situation that I need to get the ball out because I know they're bringing more than we have to block. And I think Dylan needs to improve on that. He has to get the ball out quick at times, and he tries to do too much. So maybe that time was on Dylan. Maybe the protection was slid the wrong way. Maybe the back didn't, go the right way. So everyone's included. I think sometimes we put all the blame on the O line, but I think Dylan's got to do a better job getting the ball out. Linemen can't block for more than 3 seconds. If it's ball's not out in 1,000, 2 1,000, 3, that clock's got to be in your head to either get it out to somebody, throw it away, or step in the pocket and take off with it. But yeah, everyone's responsible in those situations. It's just got to be they got to figure it out, right? I mean, it's just this is game. This is that's the 5th game of the season, and this isn't like Holgerson just stepping in for the first time in the midseason. Maybe they had some time with this, so it's got to be much improved.
Hey, going back to Saturday, the pass rush was better. The tackling was better compared to the week before. But I thought one thing that stood out, and you can speak to this, it seemed like Nebraska defensively was more violent. They hit Childs. They hit guys. Like, they weren't afraid to get physical. Did you notice anything different from Michigan to Michigan State in that aspect?
Yeah, I think the one-on-one tackling was much better. Guys kind of arrived with better intentions, bad intentions, like I like to say. And I think that helped with the bye week. They got after it, a lot of good action during the bye week, so that's going to help. And that's just got to happen consistently. Just because you did it one week, they got to realize it's not done. They got to continue to do it for the rest of the season. But I also just think that things were simplified defensively, and guys were able to play quicker, and they were knowing that they kind of had a one-way go, and they could go play with their hair on fire, and they can go shoot their gun and go make a play because they knew where their help was better. I think, when you play more inside out, that helps. I think at times Nebraska tries to play it, box it, where you play it outside in, and sometimes if you make a mistake, it's a touchdown. I think we saw a lot of that against Michigan. But when you play more inside out and force balls outside, again, like I said, your sideline's to your help.
Mhm.
And he's never missed a tackle. So you can force him. You can take that shot at the inside, make that guy bounce. And our corners do a fantastic job of tackling on the edge. They did a really, really good job in this game. Yeah, it was just better. But I think when they simplified it, played more inside out, you can play a little faster, you can play quicker, and you're just less liable. You just know you can shoot your gun and not you're not too worried about making a mistake because you know where your help's coming from. And obviously against Michigan and other times, maybe even Cincinnati, that wasn't quite the issue because guys were kind of more spread out and just were unsure, and almost seemed like they were more afraid to make a mistake. But I just didn't see that this game at all, and they were fun to watch. And whatever they tweaked and changed in the bye week, I think that needs to stay that way and keep going through the season.
Something I noticed, Jay, was it wasn't like Nebraska had 10 sacks on the day, but it definitely seemed like they were getting to Childs way more than they were getting to Underwood. And not even just from a competition base. I just think the D-line just looked and played better. And especially when Winery looked and played better. It was interesting. Matt Rule, like in the offseason, would say, hey, they're a young D-line. They're going to get better as the year goes on, right? Because these are a lot of guys who haven't started before. In your playing career, maybe it be with yourself or with the guys that, you played with. Is that true? Like, how did you see guys in their first year starting on the defensive line progress and learn lessons?
Yeah, I mean, I look at my time. I'll just speak to my 3 years I played. I was able to play as a sophomore, and it was okay at times. I was very inconsistent. That's because my practice habits were terrible.
Hmm.
I have no problem admitting that. It's really easy to feel sorry for yourself, and when you're young in college, and you're like, oh man, I was up late studying, doing this paper. I got crap to do, and you can say I'm gonna kind of chill today and practice, and it was bad. I mean, I was immature, and again, just found excuses to not do things the right way, but was still good enough and to get by, but it just wasn't nowhere where it needed to be. And then I made that jump my junior year, and you struggle with it. And I mean, Coach Cosgrove took me, and I'm not saying this is for everybody, but I'm saying Coach Cos took me in a meeting room by myself, and he's like, hey, this was after, oh gosh, who we play as our second. We played Wake Forest my junior at home, and I don't know if we shut them out, but we played good defensively, and I had an okay game. But he's like, you gotta play better, and we need more out of you. And it starts in practice. And then I just made a commitment to myself to not take any reps off anymore in practice and attack it. And my play went through the roof. And I think that's where the maturity hit for me. And I think that's where some of these guys are improving because they're attacking it the right way during the week. It's just not like, hey, I'm gonna turn it on this game. It's no, you got to do it right Monday through Friday. If you can't do it right Monday through Friday, it's not gonna happen on Saturday. So I'm confident these guys are maturing and they're seeing. That's the best part about it. When you do it right in practice and you start seeing the results in the game. I mean, making plays in the game is the most infectious. It's the biggest high drug you can have, and you want to make more of those. So you're going to figure out how I can get better in practice.
Yeah.
So you see that result, 1+1=2 in this situation. So it's like, okay, I want to do more in practice. I'm going to go harder in practice. I'm going to do these little things even better because I want to make more plays. There's nothing better than making plays in the game. So I think you're just seeing guys prepare the right way Monday through Friday, and it's getting better results on Saturday.
Hey, great stuff. We enjoyed the conversation.
Always.
Thanks for the insight. And again, great show last night. I always love 7:00 on Tuesday nights and our conversations on Wednesday morning. Thanks, Jay.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
It's Jay Moore, former Elkhorn Antler. We'll be in Elkhorn tomorrow night. See Elkhorn and Bennington. Good stuff in there.
Great stuff in there.
Yeah, there's
the pistol, man. That was interesting insight. That's something I'll just be honest with you. Like that's just a former player thing,
Does PFF have snaps under center?
Oh, I can find that for you.
Because Nebraska did what? There were more. It seemed more than usual under center.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
I would be, because they didn't really do it a whole lot when they played Michigan State just because of the circumstances of the game. But I always thought that at some point this season, when they got to the red zone, that they would do some more under center stuff, right? Maybe put a fullback and more of the Lenhart or Harburg packages. I told you before, they don't
PFF fraud. They don't have that.
well, I told you before, and we'll see if they keep doing it, but I kind of like it when they turn Dylan's back to the defense. Like, I think that there's some effectiveness there, get him rolling out or whatever it may be.
All right. We're going to be joined here shortly. We'll talk a little Maryland football with Ed Lee. But something we were talking about earlier in the show about former players on cue. Stanford has received a $50 million gift from a former player. The gift is the biggest individual gift for the program in Stanford football history, and it is tied directly to football and not a building or facility project. Andrew Luck just give back to his own program where he's working at right now?
Did
50 mil, former player. Probably somebody that played there a while back, has made a little money in Silicon Valley and said, you know what? I want to support ACC football.
What, did Colby Fleener do really well for himself?
Toby Gerhardt.
Nice pull.
Thank you.
Hell, you good job.
Well, let's step aside. Congratulations,
You're like a
Stanford.
proud dad over there.
Hey, the farm needed some money, and somebody sent some money to the farm.
Trying to think of more.
Steve
former
Stenstrom. Yeah.
Eric Moore hasn't really.
What about Scott Frost?
Wouldn't it be taboo to be
No,
a coach?
why you got to do that?
Wait.
He's a former Stanford Cardinal.
Wouldn't it be taboo?
He did just get a new job last summer.
Wouldn't that be taboo to be the coach of one team and then give money to another team? How crazy would that be if like Coach O started giving LSU like NIL money as the coach of Arkansas?
That'd be a little weird.
Yeah,
When he support his own program.
exactly.
That'd be self-sabotage, it would seem to be. We're back with more Gary and Matt after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, trip out east. First Big Ten road game for Nebraska. They go to Maryland, who got off to a 4-0 start. We were all watching on Saturday, up big on Washington, about to go for 5-0, and then the fourth quarter hit. So Maryland and Nebraska meet both 4-1 coming up on Saturday as we welcome in from the Baltimore Sun. Great sports page, by the way. If you're going to be out in that area, pick up the Baltimore Sun. We are joined by Ed Lee. Good morning, Ed. Welcome to 1620 The Zone in Omaha.
Thanks for inviting me.
Hey, you're a little bit unique in the beat that you cover because you went to school there, and so you've been covering this beat for a long time and the transition from one conference to another. We, Nebraska and Maryland don't play a lot, but we're very cognizant of Maryland. But we around here, when we think of Maryland football, we think of Fridge. All right, Ralph Friedgen and some good times, but that's like 25 years ago. Loxley comes in. Now we're multiple years in, changes the roster a little bit. In your opinion, as an alum, as somebody that covers the program, like what should Maryland football be in relationship to where they're located and now the conference they're in?
Well, the problem is the Big Ten, as you mentioned, has a storied tradition. And you have kind of the blue blood of that conference. And then, when Maryland was in the Atlantic Coast Conference, Maryland was kind of up in that tier of kind of being the blue bloods because they had been one of the founding members along with like schools like Virginia and North Carolina. So then making this transition to the Big Ten, I don't expect them to challenge the likes of Michigan and Ohio State, particularly in football. But, you take a look at Indiana from last year or Illinois this year, programs that, made changes and then now they're relevant nationally. You kind of hope as an alum and as someone who's a fan of Maryland, you kind of hope to see that sometime with this Maryland program because Maryland has the opportunity. Everyone talks about the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area being a hotbed for recruiting. So the players are there. It's just a matter of putting the pieces all together and sort of building out that program the way people expect.
And I remember reading on Maryland in the preseason, and it's bad journalism on my part that I didn't bring my magazine to read you the exact quote. But it basically, an anonymous Big Ten coach was kind of like, look, we don't really know like what this team is going to look like. But what we do know is that they have been able to get a lot of talent in the DMV area as of late. And it's just a matter of whether or not they can kind of put it together. And my partner over here, Gary, had mentioned that, you guys have a lot of freshmen playing this season. I mean, for a young team, how have you seen this team kind of grow from the beginning of the year to now? And have you been pleasantly surprised with the start that Maryland has had to this season?
Absolutely. I had colleagues ask me, how good could this team be this year? And I told them if they could get 4 wins, which was matching what they did last year, I thought that would be a sign of a good season for them.
Wow.
5 wins would have been a bonus because like you said earlier, we didn't know what this team was going to be. They lost a ton of players to the NFL. They lost a ton of players to the transfer portal, guys who had been starters, guys who had productive minutes. And they brought in some transfers who, maybe not highly as regarded as some others. And then a whole crop of freshmen who, yes, they were part of a well-regarded recruiting class, but they're freshmen. So you don't know what they can do. But so I think the fact that they won their first 4 games, and particularly the last one against Wisconsin, it was a pleasant start, a pleasant surprise, I think, for a lot of people. Obviously, the loss to Washington was very disappointing, but I think if you would ask people if they could expect this team to be 4-1 at the start, I don't think you'd find many people who could say that.
You got Ted running the defense, who's got an NFL background, but Ed, how does Maryland get 2 potential top 50 NFL players that are freshmen off the edge? How did Stewart and Mathis end up at Maryland?
So, from what I understand, Zahir Mathis was committed to another Big Ten program. I forgot which one it was. But he went to the Under Armour senior game, Under Armour All-American senior game, where he spent a lot of time with Malik Washington. And Malik Washington actually put a bug in his ear saying, hey, Maryland would love to have you.
Wow.
And Mathis decommitted, and then he said he reopened his recruiting. Malik Washington connected him with the coaches, and they got together and were able to bring him in. Sidney Stewart was another guy who I think knew Malik Washington and knew some of the other freshmen in the class and connected with them as well. So it's a lot about connections, particularly this freshman class. When we talk to them, it seems like this is a really tight group. Like these guys know each other, they played against each other, they played with each other, and I think there's a sense among them that by coming in together, they have a chance to revive this program.
You know, I know the story right now for your for Maryland is Malik Washington, the freshman quarterback. What caught my eye, Ed, when kind of going through the opponent matchups, learning more about the Terrapins is, you expect with a freshman quarterback, maybe you ease him into things, right? Maybe you give him some simple things to accomplish. Maybe you lean more so on the run game and try to get a smooth transition. That has not been the case at all. 62% of the time, you guys are throwing the football. That's fifth in the country. How have you seen a freshman quarterback take, such a big bearing and handle it with this team?
Well, I'll go back to your statistic. About 62% of the time, Maryland is throwing the ball. Part of that has to do with the running game has been inconsistent. So they've had to rely on Malik Washington and the passing game to get yards on offense. But, going back to Malik Washington, I mean, Mike Locksley is talking about how mature he is. And he said early on that he wanted to ease him into college football. Well, now he says, the brakes are off the kid because he trusts it. And he knows that he can run the offense the way that they hope he would run the offense. And so far the results prove them right. He's playing beyond his years. I think the game against the last quarter and a half against Washington was the first time we saw him look like a freshman. He made some throws off his back foot. He was overthrowing his targets. So that was unusual. So, but you got to have to expect that there'd be some growing pains. But thus far, what he has done has been, fair to say, kind of stunning, especially for a true freshman quarterback.
Ed Lee from the Baltimore Sun joining us. All right, because you've written about this, and it's kind of Mike Locksley. The competition gets better when you get out of September. You get into October and November. Had a chance to be 5-0. Some weird things happened in that fourth quarter. That ended up from 20-3 to 24-20, and Washington gets on a plane and goes home with a victory. What and maybe this is a discussion early in the week when media availability. What will prove that this is different? That this is not going to be the same October, November, and you're going, wow, at least they had 4 wins in September. What do you think is different that they'll be able to respond from that disappointment on Saturday, that they'll look different this Saturday?
Well, that was a question that many media members asked during availability yesterday. And Michael Locksley and 3 players pretty much emphasized the same thing, that this team is tighter. They're more united in proving that this team is different. I mean, Mike has talked all along about how they won't be judged by history, that you can't compare this team to previous teams. Unfortunately, that's kind of what we do in the media. But the players have said that they are committed to moving forward. They're eager to play on Saturday and, try to win back some fans, I think, who were disappointed by what happened on against Washington, and prove that this is not your same Maryland team. That September Maryland punchline that we wrote about last week. So I think, unfortunately, that's the only thing that will sort of get them out of that label.
You look at Nebraska, is there anything that you see from the Huskers that you say, okay, this might give Maryland a little bit of trouble here?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you look at what Damon Williams Jr. from Washington did in that quarter and a half, he had been bottled up the first 3.5 quarters, but then he was accurate, he was mobile, he was moving in the pocket, he was getting out of the pocket, he was finding his receivers downfield. Nebraska has a quarterback who might even be better. I always butcher his last name, so I apologize. But Dylan, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the conference.
Yeah.
And he can do the same things that Mon Williams Jr. can do. And then, when you have a running back like Emmett Johnson who creates that balance between the run and the pass, that's going to give a lot of opposing defenses fits because, defenses like to make offenses one-dimensional, and Nebraska is not that.
Ed, before we get you out of here, because we have some listeners that are making their first trip out to Baltimore, landing in BWI, and then go into the game. They want to know, is there a great place to go before the game or after the game, a bar? Once they heard me say that you're an alum, they're like, oh, I bet Ed is a partier. You have a recommendation for new fans that are coming out to Maryland this weekend?
That's awesome.
It's a legit question here in our email.
Well, I mean, I went to school 30 years ago. So a lot of the places I went to are no longer around, unfortunately. Sure. There is one popular bar slash restaurant in College Park called Looney's. It's one of the sort of it's a hallmark tradition. People go there, tailgates. People go there before basketball games, after basketball games. They like to get a few drinks in and eat a little bit before they head to the game. So I would recommend that place just because a lot of places I went to are gone.
Are you telling me there's no more penny pitcher night in College Park, Ed?
Oh man, no, you know what I remember? It was pitcher night at the Cellar.
Okay.
25 cents a pitcher for expired court.
Wow. That's awesome. That's great. We don't do. See, here's the thing, Ed. I graduated a year ago from college. I mean, the pitcher night for us was $25, not 25 cents.
Yeah, I mean, times have changed.
Yes, they have. Yes,
Hey,
they have.
Ed, we appreciate it. We'll see you this weekend.
Sounds good.
That's,
Thank you.
That's Ed Lee from the Baltimore Sun.
That was hyperbolic, by the way. A pitcher night wasn't $25 in Lincoln. It was more like 12, but still.
Sadly, we'd believe it, not because of Lincoln, but because of the prices.
They tell you now, they're like, hey, we got a deal on buckets. You can get 5 beers for $20.
Oh,
I'm like, that's a deal? It's $4 a beer? I mean, 2 of those beers cost what a 6-pack costs. Crazy.
yeah.
I'm looking here to see what was featured on Campus Eats when they went to Maryland. Because there are people that are going to make the first trip out there. I mean, it's kind of well.
There's got to be pretty good pizza out there, right?
And Maryland is
First
known
thing-
for their pizza.
Yeah.
Yep.
First thing
No,
you think of,
guys.
I'm thinking of stuff that's coming out of the water.
No.
What's your
Honest-
favorite crab cakes?
Okay, so there.
Oh,
so
hell
you know me.
yes.
You know how much I love crab cakes.
Mm.
I love crab cakes. Are my
Yeah.
favorite food. I'm aware of that. But I'm saying when I think of college eats, I think of pizza. Every good college town has to have a good pizza place. If you don't have a good pizza place, I don't think you're a good college.
There is this hut in College Park that sells pizza.
No.
called
There's a
Pizza
so
Hut.
so the last Campus Eats that was in College Park, they went to a place called R.J. Bentley's.
Oh,
They are known for their Jamaican jerk chicken fingers
yeah.
and their
okay.
high test nachos.
I'm okay. I don't do Jamaican jerk chicken.
I was.
Oh, you're missing out.
I don't do
yeah, I
jerk.
was,
Oh,
once I
hell
went on when I went on
yes.
my honeymoon,
Same.
the Ocho Rios.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Right
Did you go to Sandals on your honeymoon?
Yeah.
Actually,
all inclusive.
that's
where-
incredible.
that's
I'm
where we
not a
went.
That's the way
jerk-
to do it.
I've never liked jerk chicken.
I've
I've had it multiple times.
I've been called a jerk many times. I figured I'd like
I thought at the time, I drank the country out of Red Stripe.
I was about to say the amount
Yeah.
of red string. Because what is the mixed drink of Jamaica?
Daiquiri
it. Yeah.
Really?
with rum.
Oh hell
They
yeah!
had
Yeah.
something called Miami Vice.
Dude,
when
I-
was there.
Hey, I got bailed out. So coming back through customs, and
Literally?
flew into Miami. No, we almost got robbed.
Okay.
Yeah, but fortunately, our bus or shuttle driver could speak the language. And
Gotcha.
so
Nice.
yeah,
Good job.
But I had way too much rum,
Okay.
bringing it back from Jamaica back to Miami. And when we went through, I thought, oh man, I made a mistake. But the guy, it was like late at night.
Yeah.
It was like on a Sunday night. And he was just like,
really?
yeah, just.
Did he open up the bag? And
Well, yeah, he saw it, but there was like,
he looked at you and go, "What are you,
Yeah.
Jack Sparrow?
Yeah.
What are you?"
we had the rum from Jamaica. Wow. And I'm not necessarily a rum person,
Okay.
but it just
Same.
tastes a little bit
Yeah,
different over
yeah.
there. So yeah, just the Jamaican jerk
I don't-
chicken
I-
fingers.
I
Go to
don't thi-
RJ Bentley's in College Park this
I was
weekend.
just saying, East Coast. I just assume I'm a simpleton. I assume all East Coast cities have good pizza.
I think most cities that are, college town or large have good pizza.
I don't know.
Most
about
cities in
that.
general have good pizza.
I don't know. I looked at Dave
I mean, you
Portnoy's
live in a-
reviews in Des Moines. I wasn't necessarily
Whoa.
taken aback.
Whoa! You sent me one that you were excited about.
No, I didn't send you one I was excited about. I sent you one to be like, how
Why do you need
legit
Dave
is this?
Portnoy?
Because you
Just
are.
ask
When I
him.
think of Des Moines, now I used to think of Seth Rollins. Now I think of he's from Davenport too, so it doesn't even make
Not
sense.
even close to Des Moines.
I know,
that
but-
actually is in your state.
Davenport.
We do not claim Davenport in the state
know,
of Iowa.
I don't know Iowa.
I probably shouldn't say
geography,
we because people think I'm a Hawkeye fan.
but you're from there.
Yeah, I am.
You grew up there.
I did grow
So
up in
when I think of Des
Urbandale.
Moines, I now think of Gary Sharp. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I just sent you some places to see if they were actually good. I didn't say they looked appetizing. I'm not getting a crab rangoon pizza.
It's their popular one.
Yeah.
From Fong's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're known
Saw it
for.
on TV. They look good.
They actually have grown because when they first started, they were in a hole in the wall.
Oh, they're not in the
Yeah.
hole in the wall anymore?
Well, I think they still have their OG location,
Okay.
but they've just like Jethro's. So Jethro's started, and I'm pretty sure the original Jethro's barbecue in Des Moines was down on Forest Avenue on Drake's campus. And then as it became more popular, it expanded. Now there's Jethro's all throughout the Metro Des Moines area.
Okay. But I
I think Fong's is because where Portnoy was, that location is out of downtown. It's not where
Sure.
they first started. Too fancy because they were a dive, man. They were a major dive.
Are pizza places better when they're crappy? Crappy
Yes,
looking?
Yes, dives are the best.
Mhm.
Dives are the best. I mean, so
It's even a show about it.
hey, if you were a dive bar and you survived COVID, man, you are golden, Jerry.
The best places I've had to eat like tacos or like Mexican food are the one where there's like 8 tables. You know, where there's
Or
like,
out of a food truck.
or that. The less tables, the better. I feel like in any sort of Latin
Back home, if
cuisine.
it has burglar bars on it, you're going to be eating well. That's not a knock. That's a compliment.
Speaking of food, there's a trend on TikTok.
6-7.
No, that's not a food trend. That's just when I need to calm the kids down. I just say 6-7, and they're like, "Whoa." They look at me different. They're like, "Whoa." Apparently, this is either a TikTok trend or it's just showing up more on video of people that are going to buffets and getting kicked out because they've gone through the line too many times.
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
So
That's
there's
terrible.
one that actually looks like one of the Chinese buffets here in Omaha.
Okay.
Is that this guy, after like his 9th trip through the buffet, they asked him to leave.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that's impressive though that he had 9 trips.
Yeah,
Well,
I couldn't
just-
do that.
Just judging by not his plate, I think he could handle 9 trips. But yeah, like the manager was escorting him out because he'd gone through the buffet too many times.
So my dad got into a fight with people in Wisconsin because there was a kid growing up. He was a very good friend of ours. His name was Anthony Wynn, and Anthony was 15 years old. He was a bigger guy.
Mhm.
He ate like crazy. They went to a place in Wisconsin that had all you can eat crab legs, and Anthony had too many crab legs, and they
Mhm.
were like, "This is his last round." And my father was like, "You can't do that. It's all you can eat. We're paying for all you can eat crab legs. He's not done eating. You can't just cut him off. The point is for him to eat until he's full." So I don't know if I fully now if they're taking
They would never do that in Vegas.
No.
they
Well,
should
especially
never
when
do
you're
that.
paying $150 at the Palm for a buffet.
If it takes me 9 trips to get full, it takes me 9 trips
Yeah.
to get full.
I'm pretty sure this is here on Dodge of where this guy was escorted out.
Really?
Yeah,
Damn.
because you can hear the manager going, we have watched you. You've gone through the line 9 times. He goes, but I paid my money.
But if he paid and he ate all the food,
then he
I
yelled
don't think there's
GBR.
any problem with it.
It's
If
like,
he paid for it and he's putting it in his
I can
stomach,
block better than Pritchett. Take that.
Oh, that's here.
I did have a hankering the other day for the Valentino's buffet. No kidding. Because Happer
Not judging.
will hop in the car and go somewhere for lunch, like a long way away. Like maybe you end up in Kansas City.
Respect.
I almost the other day thought about driving to Nebraska City
why?
because it's one of the rare places that has the Valentino's buffet
Mhm.
still.
What is offered more at a Valentino's buffet compared to a regular Valentino's?
A buffet.
The ice cream, the dessert pizza, the salad bar, but the pizza and the pasta and,
Different
and the
pizzas.
chicken.
Do they not have the one in Lincoln anymore?
No, they don't.
Oh,
I think it's Nebraska City, Grand Island, Beatrice, maybe.
I've eaten at the Grand Island one before,
Yeah.
calling it an
Well,
indoor
even-
football game.
Even the Godfather's buffets are less and less around here.
Do you think the pizzas taste better at a buffet compared to when you just get it off the slice?
That's why I need a buffet.
I like the different options. I don't have to choose.
Were you going for the food or going for the experience?
Oh, the food, because sometimes you get it. Sometimes once a year you want to have the Valentino's buffet.
I've never had that hankering before.
Damn,
I
that's
like-
surprising actually.
No, but I prefer. I think it's the number 2 at Valentino's, which is the 2 slices of pizza with a bread twist and a Coke. That was elite. I survived off that in college.
Yeah, I need to get on the Sean Callahan speaking thing because I think
Yeah, there
you
go.
go to the buffet, you go to Valentino's buffet in Nebraska City to talk Huskers every week.
Really?
Yeah.
And
That'd
you
be
used to go
incredible
down
for you.
there?
Yeah, because the person that was supposed to speak was like, I had nothing to say this week. You want to talk? I'm
Oh,
like,
that's
"Yeah."
right. I remember that day.
It would undo.
I really do.
It would undo a lot of progress that you've made if you spoke once a week at the Nebraska City
Yeah.
cafe.
Pat,
Be like, Gary, you tried losing 100 pounds in a year. You were at 92. Why are you at 76? Well, Sipple gave me all his dates.
I was bummed, like the one off L Street. Like the one off Maple. Yeah, 108th and Maple. Like gotta drive now. Maybe that we're healthier in Omaha because the Valentino's buffets aren't here.
Mhm.
But I seriously thought about going to Nebraska City. Then I'll just drop
That's
down to
crazy.
Rockport.
Hell yes.
Pat says if you're going out there, he has a recommendation. I trust Pat. The filling station
Okay.
is another good place. No, it's Bentley's filling station in downtown College Park.
Okay.
Yep, looks like a good spot.
Hmm.
All right, when we come back, you better hope that the Purdue University has major bandwidth capability on Sunday. I'll explain as we wrap up this hour. And Nebraska and Maryland in basketball share something similar this morning. All of that to come before we wrap the hour on 1620 The Zone. All right, coming up here in a little bit, John Walker from the Omaha World Herald, as we'll talk some ball, y'all. There's been a change in the odds of who's going to be the first pick in the NBA draft next July. Your guy, Jimmy, Darren Peterson from KU.
Wow. Hopefully not to the Spurs because we're going to win the championship this year.
It's true. Wemby is now listed as 7'5", if you're wondering.
You're not going to win the championship.
Oh, yeah. We're going to win all of them.
Well,
Yeah, at least the next 14 or 15.
So
No, they'll be in the playoffs.
So Maryland and Nebraska play football this weekend. The line is still 6.5. The line is a little bit tighter when it comes to the preseason basketball poll put out by the Columbus Dispatch.
Okay.
The expectations for Nebraska basketball are not very high. Okay. 2 years away from the fun of 2 years ago would not be good. We haven't talked much about the crown. Time to put the crown away.
I'd say, what are we going to say about the crown?
The crown was fun. Crown celebrate. I think they should show off the crown to the public before the exhibition game or preseason game or whatever the hell they call those things against BYU next Saturday.
I think that would be proper.
Should have taken it around the
game,
state.
not the regular season.
So Purdue, how about this? Braden Smith could win the Player of the Year again in the conference from Purdue. They could have Edey 2 times, Smith 2 times.
That's incredible.
Just please also, can we put some, I know it's his teammate, can we put some love on Trey Kaufman-Wren?
Yeah, I like it.
Guy did have a nice year last year, but Braden Smith's on his team. So Purdue is the preseason favorite. Michigan, not a surprise. UCLA, the Eastern Europeans are 4th. Oregon is 5th.
Illinois, 4th.
Michigan State is 6th. Wisconsin 7th. Iowa 8th. Now, 18th is Penn State. Man, it's been a rough stretch for Penn State athletics.
Yeah.
Rutgers is 17th. Remember when they had 2 lottery picks?
Yeah. Not two. Wait. Time out. Not 2 lottery picks. 2 top 8 picks in the NBA draft.
Minnesota is 16th. Wow. Is St. Thomas going to be the best Division I men's basketball team in the state of Minnesota?
You have told us they're coming.
Ooh. Northwestern is 15th.
Yeah, it's fine. We typically are. That's our spot. That's the honorary Northwestern.
Maryland is 13th. Nebraska is 14th. A little bit. I thought they might be like 12th. USC is 12th, but Nebraska is 14th in this poll. They did not get anybody on the first or second team. Rink Mass got a vote.
I haven't
They'll
done
a chip on their shoulder to prove people wrong, to get into the middle. I will say 10 teams from the Big Ten make the tournament this year.
Iowa being 8th?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, he's coming.
Okay.
Bennett Sturtz. He's coming. Learn his name.
All
Starts
right.
with a B, ends with a T.
I thought you were going to say learn his name, Ben McCollum.
Well, he brought Bennett Sturtz with him.
Well, exactly.
And also, if you are looking for something to do on Sunday, and you've always wondered, should I subscribe to BTN Plus?
Oh, yeah.
This is more disrespect towards Purdue. The Nebraska-Purdue volleyball game in West Lafayette on Sunday at high noon. The number 1 ranked Nebraska Cornhusker volleyball team. Purdue is number 12.
Yeah.
It is on BTN Plus.
So I do want to say this. I've told you this before. I would go and I would watch BTN Plus broadcasts to see what schools were better than me and just to
Compare
and contrast and whatnot. I thought Purdue actually typically did a very good job. So I think, it might not be that
I've
bad.
only watched baseball from on BTN Plus from Purdue. They better have some bandwidth and they better be good. There's going to be a lot of people watching. Number 1 versus number 12, and it's on BTN Plus on Sunday. Nebraska should go back to the Big 12.
I feel bad for those student broadcasters. They have no idea.
I wonder if
clue.
they substitute more. I hope they don't, but if they slide some vets in there,
It probably would be a wise decision.
because the
to
Nebraska
do that.
volleyball fan will lose their
Well,
mind.
the Nebraska volleyball fan loses their mind on actual Nebraska students who broadcast those games.
Eating their own.
Got to be nicer to John Baylor.
Well,
Be kind. That's what John says. We'll be kind to John Walker because we are in 17 days of Jays.
in the meat
I
of
wonder what was behind the door that we opened today. What piece of candy was behind the Jays advent calendar that John Walker has in his home?
probably Greg McDermott's favorite dinner to eat after a game.
All right, we're going to talk to J-Dub and Brandon Vogel here in the last hour on 1620 The Zone. All right, last week, I liked some Jason Aldean.
Like
Jason
that?
Aldean, Luke Bryan going to play at Sanford Stadium. When he's down there, they're having a big promotion.
That's awesome.
So they're both Georgia. They're both Georgia fans. I think Jason Aldean went to UGA. Yeah, they're going to be there in June. Monster show. Jason Aldean was the first
That'll do well.
artist to play Between the Hedges. There you go.
Fun facts.
Yes. Was just recently here in Omaha. John Walker, though, couldn't make it. Girlfriend didn't want to go, but she said, you need to go back on 1620 on Wednesday morning with the boys, and he's back. Good morning.
Hello. What is up, guys? How are you?
Good. How are you? How is the 17 days of J's in your advent calendar?
They're done. They're filed away. So today is day 8. Creighton's pink out game has become something of its own, as you guys are well aware of. But how have the Jays performed in those games over the years? What's their record through their first 15 annual pink out games? That's kind of what we talked about today.
It just also kind of depends on the opponent. When they pick the game and you
Right.
go, ooh, that's not Seton Hall or DePaul.
Yeah, I think this year it shakes out to where that game is likely going to be UConn, just based on the name. I think that's the last Saturday home game in January. Like, could you imagine if the pink out game is UConn? That place is going to be insane.
Yeah, and you know what? And it's going to be a 7:00 tip, so it's going to get a big stage. That'll be cool. You're right, and I'm glad you wrote about this because that event with the McDermotts has taken on a whole nother meaning. And I mean, you see the shirts throughout the rest of the year, people wearing them in the community, but the visuals and the cause and the funds that are raised, it's such a great day for the battle against cancer. And what Creighton does, men's basketball, that on TV for the UConn game will be pretty cool. So I hope it's that game.
Yeah, I'm not reporting or breaking news or anything here, but yeah, it just kind of it seems like that's going to be it, right? Like, I don't know. I don't think doing my research, I saw a February pink out game in there anywhere. I don't think. Maybe there was one on like a February 1st or something. I'm not positive, but
Shaheen Holloway right now is like, phew.
I know she's like, all right, yeah, give it to UConn. So
are you?
No, it's usually a fun day. I'm sure this year will be no different.
Can you put in a word and get dollar beer night for DePaul or Seton Hall or some crappy team? Can we do that?
Dude, they've got to do something. It was like so interesting last year.
I don't know why they did it for
Mike
UConn.
Odom about it.
It made no sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've got to talk to Mike Odom about this and see what the ideology was. Because just typically, from a marketing standpoint, you want to use dollar beer night to attract fans to a game they otherwise aren't incentivized to go to.
Yeah.
I think my first season on the beat, it was like a Wednesday night game against Georgetown.
Perfect.
So like, that's perfect. Like that's how you get people to go to a Wednesday night game against Georgetown, or at least the version of Georgetown 2 years ago. So yeah, we'll see what game that's on.
Hey, so let's before we dive into Creighton, let's talk a little bit about the Big East, because I brought his name up, and we can even throw in Georgetown, who should be better this year, and maybe being better is like the 6th or 7th best team. As this conference becomes dialed in on basketball, and the top with Creighton, St. John's, and UConn becomes stronger, and there's a couple others that are on the cusp, man, the bottom, if you're at the bottom, you might be in trouble. What's the future of Seton Hall basketball in this new day and age of college athletics? Because we got enamored with Shaheen, but this is year 4. They were 7-25 last year, and they've got some transfers that, you maybe you've never heard of the school, and you're wondering where Elon is, and Jacksonville, is he the NFL player? Like Seton Hall. How does Seton Hall survive in the Big East?
I was having this exact same conversation yesterday while I was finishing the 17 days of Jays to tip my hand here in a couple of days. One of them is ranking the coaches in the Big East. And I think the top 3 at this point, maybe you could argue 3 between Mac and Shaka. But I think the top 3 are pretty set at this point. And then once you get to 4 through 8, it's really, really, really tough. Anyways, I have Shaheen toward the bottom. And I'm like, okay, is Shaheen Holloway, someone has to be last, I'm like, is Shaheen Holloway really the worst basketball coach in the Big East? Probably not. Do you guys want to take a guess at how many games Seton Hall won 2 years ago?
Ooh.
8.
10?
Guys, they won 25 games.
Oh, that's right. Because yeah, you are. Yeah.
So like it's
bad
it's so crazy how quickly this whole thing has unraveled. And I know that they just opened a new basketball facility, but you ask around the Big East, and it's hard not to imagine, or it's hard to imagine Seton Hall being competitive with the resources that they're working with. It's hard to imagine Shaheen Holloway going and getting another player like Kadari Richmond to come to Seton Hall.
Yeah.
So it's so tough. Where does a program like Seton Hall find its niche in today's environment? I think they are actively working through that right now. Because I don't know if they have a place right now. Because it kind of is like, okay, you made somewhat of an investment, but is it enough for a power conference basketball team? You know, the Big East is power conference for all intents and purposes. So like, and that's something that Seton Hall officials and leadership and Shaheen, they're going to have to sit down and talk about. But from an outsider's perspective, it's like that program won 25 games 2 years ago. I know that it wasn't Shaheen. They're like 5 years removed from splitting a Big East championship with Creighton.
Kevin Willard,
and you can, unless you're UConn, you can just about chalk up a win against Seton Hall. So it's crazy. I really like to answer your question, to put a finite answer on it. What's the state of Seton Hall? Where do they stand? I don't know. The problem is I don't think they do either.
So, kind of bringing this back to Creighton here. I think they are going to be very good this year, and I think they're honestly being a little bit underrated with some of these preseason rankings, putting them on the borderline between 24 and 25. And I get it because Kalkbrenner left and they lost Ashworth and so many key guys. But I want to ask you about this, John, because we haven't had this convo with you. You know, obviously basketball is a team sport and it's a 40-minute game and all this and all that. But at the end of the day, when you're playing good team versus good team, great team versus great team, it just comes down to the last 4 minutes and who's your closer, who's your guy, who's the guy that you can give the ball to. He can put it on the floor. He can get you a bucket when you need it the most. Who is, or do you think Creighton has that guy, and who is that guy?
I don't know if you could defiantly say there is one right now.
Wow.
2 years ago, that was Trey Alexander. Like Greg McDermott, that was Trey's junior year. And I remember that was my first year on the beat. And I remember they played Alabama in Omaha, and they gave it to Trey real late, and he dribbled it off his foot, rolled out of bounds, whatever. They still ended up winning that game, obviously. But Trey could have cost them, really could have.
Mm-hmm.
And after that game, Mac was like, no, like I told him when he decided to come back that, you know, I was going to trust him in those moments, that the ball was going to be in his hands in those moments. And so we're going to ride with him. So 2 years ago it was Trey Alexander. Last year, I'd say it was Stephen Ashworth. Like I think back to the DePaul heave at the end of regulation in the Big East tournament. There was no hesitation, no trepidation. Like they were inbounding the ball to Stephen Ashworth. I don't know who that's going to be this year. In theory, it'd be Josh Dix.
Yeah.
In theory, but you know, everybody's a little different when the lights come on.
Yeah.
At that time, in particular, you know, does Fedor Zugic elevate himself to a different level down the stretch? Does Josh Dix do that? Does Jackson McAndrew do that? I would have a hard time believing that it's not going to be one of those three guys.
Okay. I will put my money on Josh Dix, but
yeah.
So we've seen him. If you've seen him in practice, but I saw him plenty this summer. physically, Jackson McAndrew looks different. I mean, he's a kid that's growing up. But he also finished last year with 3 straight double-figure games, and he looks so much comfortable getting used to the rigors of playing college basketball in his first year. What do you think a nightly stat line looks like for him in year 2? Because now everybody knows who he is. He's not this little scrawny kid.
Sure.
You know,
Good point.
he's growing up, and people know him in the Big East. What's a nightly stat line look like for him, you think?
So he averaged like 7.8 points last year.
Yes, he did.
A few rebounds, shot like 36% from 3. I don't know. Then we have to factor in that Max said, will it happen? We'll see. But he said he wants to play more people, more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take that into account into this as well. I mean, there's no, like, if I told you Jackson McAndrew averaged like 14 and 6 on 38% 3-point shooting, would that do it for you?
Yeah. I mean, that'd be a nice, to go with all the other pieces, that'd be a nice nightly contribution.
They're going to need people to crash the glass. Like I remember one of the big things last year is when I sat down with Mac before the season is maybe I undervalued how much he appreciates rebounding. I just had no idea. And so when I got to sit down and talk to him, I'm like, okay, you know, at that point, you have to replace Trey, you have to replace Baylor. He brought in Pop, he brought in Jemiah. What's the biggest thing you need out of those guys to replace what you lost? And he said the rebounding. Because as we know, Baylor was such an exceptional positional rebounder, and Trey had positional size, and that team rebounded really well. 2 years ago, that is. And last year, as the season progressed, as he settled in, you saw Jackson crash the glass a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So I think when you lose the 7'1" center, and your starting center is coming off of meniscus surgery, then you're probably going to need some guys to crash the glass. And I think Jackson McAndrew is going to step into that role. He kind of reformed his body this offseason. And that was one, to become a markedly better defender, which he did throughout his freshman season. But 2, it was so he could handle himself on the block a little bit more. And that's whether he's backing somebody down or he's crashing the glass. So, yeah, I don't think like 14 and 6 is out of the realm on, let's say, like 25-ish minutes a game, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I would think on October 8th.
Okay. I mean, you'd take that. I think anybody would.
I think that'd be a very natural sophomore jump for him. Just with he's a widely considered breakout star. No, Greg McDermott said it, but we all no doubt agree with it. An NBA player sooner than later. So yeah, I think going from 7.8 in a very small offensive role. Like, he got some shots last year, but he was not asked to fill it up at any point. He's going to be asked to do that a little bit this year. So, yeah, that's what I'll go with.
So, obviously, with the loss of Kalkbrenner, everybody's freaking out about the defense. And in particularly, his presence within the paint kind of allowed Creighton to be more aggressive on the perimeter when it came to, switches and rotations and whatnot, because you knew you had that safety blanket back there. But now you don't. At the same time, though, John, I think that this team overall is more athletic on the perimeter this season than it was last season. So do you think that this potential increase in athleticism isn't necessarily going to have the aggressiveness that they had with Kalkbrenner on the perimeter go away?
No, I don't think so. Well, I know that it's crucial right out the gate because their second game is at Gonzaga, and shortly after that, they go to Vegas for 3 pretty tough games. But I will not overall judge this team's defense until probably mid-January. And I say it under this vacuum. Here's the tricky part of here's inside the mind of John Walker, fairly and accurately covering this team early on in the season, is they're going to have a defensive performance within the first few weeks, or a couple that are abysmal, period. And what we'll have to keep in mind is that Owen Freeman, their starting center, the successor to Ryan Kalkbrenner, will probably not have his legs fully under him until December. So the team we see in November is not the team we'll see in 2026. So that's what'll make it so hard for me to judge. However, I don't think they'll lose that aggressiveness. And that's largely because they have tremendous positional size now.
Yeah.
In a lineup, let's say the starting lineup is Graves, Dix, Green, McAndrew, Freeman. Okay. You have 6'3", 6'6", 6'8", 6'10", 6'10". I know that 6'10" doesn't cover what you lost in 7-1.
Yeah.
But across the board, Creighton would be so much bigger. And so that's huge. It's huge. And Dix is a better defender than I think a lot of us, myself included, give him credit for. We all know Jason Green's defensive prowess. Jackson McAndrew got better as a defender as last season went on. That's only expected to continue. So then really my questions in that lineup would be for Nick Graves and Owen Freeman.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I don't think they'll lose that aggressiveness, but it'll be really, really, really hard to say until this team, specifically the starting center, find their footing. So, it'll be this team more so than any will seemingly be a process, man.
Yeah, that's why we have the non-conference and a very interesting schedule. J-Dub, always we appreciate it. The answer to your question, 11-4. Only people can get that at omaha.com or by picking up a paper today. 17 days of the Jays. John Walker is ho, 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 how Creighton basketball has fared in its annual Pink Out game. I love the series. I appreciate the conversation.
Thanks, guys. We got Creighton in-house media day tomorrow. So I'll see you guys from the McDermott Center.
All right. We'll see you there as well. The food is going to be great. Thank you.
Are you going to that?
I think so. The RSVP? I think I did. Well, what the hell? I'm just going to show up.
Yeah, you're Gary Sharp. You're fine. They know you over there. If I showed up, it wouldn't be great.
Could I interest you guys in Miamians for Omaha college basketball?
You're going to have to explain.
Okay. So both Creighton and Omaha have a Miami transfer.
Okay.
Austin Swartz, 6'4" guard.
And your guy.
And then Paul Jobay, who is going to be a dude for Omaha when he's eligible. He'll be eligible, I think, when we go to Texas. He'll be eligible for the Oregon-Omaha game and then the start of the conference season. Miamians for Division I basketball in the city of Omaha.
I just laugh because we do this with multiple sports and multiple schools where it's like two guys from the same area come through and you're like, Calabrasca, Flobraska.
Just kind of ironic that two guys who could, one, Jobay will be, he'll have more of an impact, like playing in the Summit. He's a dude. Like Chris Crutchfield yesterday compared his game to Markel Sutton and Frankie Fiddler.
Wow.
Two of the best players that have come through here in the last couple of years. I've watched him in Inter Squad. He's a dude. He's gonna cause problems in the Summer League. And then Austin doesn't have to have a major role, but he'll contribute. So there you go. See, when they say Miamians don't like Omaha, yes, they do. We just don't like Miami because of what they did to the Orange Bowl.
Momaha or Omahi?
Stop. All right. Brandon Vogel is going to join us before the hour is over on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, Adam Sandler is coming back to town. Your Best Friend Tour, Tuesday, October 21st at the Chi Health Center in Omaha. Listen all week to John and Josh on Unsportsmanlike Conduct to win your way into the show. Hey, find more details out at 1620thezone.com.
No.
Come on. Come on.
No, you're bad.
Really?
You're a bad dancer. Remember
You
when
got up and you danced yesterday.
Yeah, because that's me. Kid, develop your own thing.
What do you mean? I was dancing.
Yeah.
You've now adopted dancing?
Been here for a while. Got a fill-in guy over here today. All right, Brandon Vogel is going to join us here in a little bit. People wanted our question to be asked to John Walker to talk about Rink Mast. We unfortunately ran out of time.
But listen to the podcast.
Yes, do that.
Nothing says a in-state rivalry like Nebraska-Creighton basketball being at 4:00 on a Sunday.
How do you feel about the UCLA game at 10 o'clock, baby? They really tried to sneak that under the gun, did they? They put that really low on the schedule, hoping you'd be like, okay, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, Saturday, weekend game. Wait, they tip off when?
Yeah, Tuesday. So if you've not seen what Matt is alluding to, so Nebraska goes out to play at Pauley Pavilion at the end of the regular season. It's their last road game, right?
Yes.
Now,
it's the very last road game.
Now they are already going to be in LA because they play USC on Saturday.
Mhm.
So they'll have Sunday, Monday off. The Tuesday game is at 10 o'clock Central Time at Pauley Pavilion. So it is 8 o'clock on FS1. So what, back end of a triple header, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
And which,
triple
by the
header.
way, it won't start until you won't be able to watch it until 10:20 because you know they're going to get
Yeah.
delayed.
So the
from
post game will
games
be on
before.
when I'm driving to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the only psycho that's going to be up watching it to give us the breakdown in this very show is sitting to the right of me.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's doing the Lord's work.
If that game means something, woo, that could mean if the difference between playing on Tuesday or Wednesday at the Big Ten basketball tournament.
That could mean the difference between honestly being in and or out of the NCAA tournament, period. It could.
That'd be good.
If
That'd be
they
good.
need that, this would be a definite quad one win if you're on the bubble.
Yeah,
I mean, you'd be
UCLA
watching
is-
the beam team anyway.
Yeah.
UCLA is third preseason.
In
That's a
theory.
long way away. A lot of things can happen
Hey,
between
you got
now and then.
You got to be thinking about these things, Gary. I know you're already thinking about the pace and space of
I'm
the team.
thinking about
Bearcat?
Nebraska, Maryland football. Boy, he looked good. He got shaved. He did a little shave in the team picture yesterday.
Okay,
We
so
are.
so we're giving him credit for
we're 17
training.
We're 17 days away from him and I meeting.
You're counting down the days.
Yeah. I was told you could either come meet him in person at the BYU game or at the Northwestern football game.
So you got a
I
person.
want to meet him more in his element, so I'll see him at the football game.
At the Blur tailgate.
So the UCLA game at Pauley Pavilion is at 10 o'clock at night, but Nebraska's already going to be out in LA.
Yeah.
So it won't be that big of a deal. But for the student athletes, they're going to get back really, really late. And then they're going to have to turn around and get ready for Iowa on Sunday, which Fox has picked that game up. That's because that's become an annual tradition is Nebraska finishes the year with Iowa and they finish on that Sunday at PBA. Again, another 4 o'clock basketball game on a Sunday.
Well,
but on Big Fox.
last year that game though was at what, like 11 a.m. on a Sunday or something ridiculous like that.
What if it's
I was at
unseasonably
that
warm?
It was at 11 a.m.
I was in Sioux Falls because that was the Summit League Championship
Yeah.
day. Yeah, it was like 11.
It was 11 a.m. I think Schaefer was there too. I think Schaefer could probably, if he's listening, probably text me and confirm. But I'm almost positive it was at 11 a.m. So they're not going to get back until 6 a.m. from LA, probably then, right? On the Tuesday.
I don't know.
Tip off
it'll be
8 local time, 8 Pacific time, and then that game will probably get on the plane.
Got a shower, get your meal.
Yeah, they
The
won't get back till
airport.
like 5 a.m. That's ridiculous.
They can listen to us
Shouldn't
on the
have-
way back.
Shouldn't have joined the Big Ten then. That's how I look at it.
Bearcase got geology class at 9 o'clock. What's he going to do?
Hey,
Skip it, of course.
bro, don't go to school, so it don't matter.
If I got paid like that, I wouldn't go to school either.
He by the way, that's been dispelled a little bit. That he's not paid as highly as people think he is.
I've never put
He does make
number.
6 figures.
Yeah, I've never put a number to him because I don't really believe, like, I don't know who to believe, and we don't have those numbers for sure. I just know he makes money.
Yeah,
Which is good for him.
They all make money. I got all got nice things. So the Aaron Judge home run from yesterday is being broken down many different ways, like the doink off the pole that may have changed that series. Also, I know that like Judge has a moment, but Aaron Judge has been really good in the postseason. Like he's had a really good postseason, and people have like said, "Hey, all right, maybe Judge is better in the playoffs this year than he's been in the past," which is true. But he finally has that moment. The call is great. It's a really really on point emotion description call by Joe Davis. If you did not know how old Joe Davis is,
Oh God,
and you only listen to his voice, how old do you think Joe Davis is just by listening to his voice?
I think 38.
Oh,
Really?
I'd say he's
Older.
late 40s.
Older. Like I immediately think older.
No, yeah, that's what I'm getting.
Ultimate compliment.
Yeah.
by the
So
way.
when I listen to his voice.
Yeah, 40, 45. He's an old. I know
he's about my
I know
age.
how old. How old is he?
He's 37.
He's
Oh,
37.
he's younger.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was way younger than that.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
Talk
I mean,
about
again,
NCAA.
it's not like he just showed up.
joined
He's
then.
been doing
No.
stuff for Fox for a while. Like
Mhm.
he's replaced Vince Scully. But like you listen to his voice, you would think he's much older than 37.
I think he's
And on
incredible.
baseball,
Mhm.
man, he, there's some nights I can. Oral Hershiser grades on me watching
Okay, so
the
I'm not the
Dodgers
only one.
play. Yeah, I mean, Joe is Joe, whether he's doing the Dodgers or a national game. Oral Hershiser just grinds on me watching the Dodgers play. And even Smoltz does as well. But Joe Davis doesn't matter. Joe Davis doesn't matter what sport delivers.
Adam
I-
Amin's
well-
really good on the other series too.
Great call, Jimmy.
Mhm.
Adam Amin, so he came in young in Chicago for the Bulls, and he was very like yelly and screamy. And him and Stacey King at times in that first season were like, I don't want to say insufferable, but very hard to listen to. He's definitely like dialed it back and got more polished. And like, I'll listen to Adam Amin announce all
Calls
day.
a mean baseball
I think Joe
game.
Davis and Mike Breen are very similar in the fact that, like, yeah, Mike Breen's doing the New York Knicks and Joe Davis is doing the LA Dodgers, but when they announce those playoff series, I can't tell. Like I can't tell that the home announcer is announcing his team in the playoffs.
I honestly have forgotten about Joe Buck on Fox doing baseball, which isn't an insult to Joe. It just says how good Joe Davis has been.
Well, I mean, Joe Davis could be doing a Dodger Mariner World Series. Also today, as we before we take a break and get to Brandon Vogel from Counter Read, today begins on the heels of 17 days of Jays. Are they going to do 17? Is Willie going to do 17 days of Huskers?
Oh, I
text him.
I feel like isn't
Ask
that? I mean, John Walker's got to have that copyrighted, right? I mean, that's got to be his thing. I don't. Maybe he can do 8 days of Huskers or like 12 days of Huskers or like something
Like
different.
7-second ads.
But today begins 7 straight weeks of every day there is football.
Action's coming.
You know what? The
Mhm.
last day that we don't have football, or the last day that there will be football and then we take a break is November 25th. Most incredible day of all 365. But tonight begins Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Hey,
blah, 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 blah,
November
football.
November 25th. Isn't that your birthday?
Yes.
Okay.
Is on CBS Sports Network tonight.
Hell yes.
And
Sun Bowl.
Middle Tennessee and Missouri State are on ESPN2. We have 7 weeks of football every day beginning today.
Are you going to be watching either of those?
Every
teams play?
single game that's going to be played, I will look up the score.
It's like me and the Cubs.
Yes.
Aw.
But you're going to want to watch today.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, say goodbye to Kyle Tucker. All right, we say hello to Brandon Vogel from counterread.com coming next. All right, let's welcome in our good friend. Lots of great content, by the way. Post Michigan State at counterread.com. It is Brandon Vogel. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, 4-1. Does it feel like Nebraska's 4-1? If you listen to people that consume your content or listen to players who get DMs that are upset about the offensive line or coaches or talk shows, does it feel like 4-1?
No, and I'll raise my hand. I probably didn't contribute to that much either after Michigan State. 5 sacks to that team. I mean, I wrote in the preview going into that game, like, this is not the game to judge Nebraska progress coming off a 7-sack game against Michigan, because the Spartans hadn't shown that they had that capability. But it sure became a thing to judge it by, for me at least, and a lot of others, when Nebraska gave up 5 sacks to that group. So this is how it usually goes. You get a little bit more distance from the game, and I think things soften a little bit. But no, it doesn't feel like, hey, tough game, weird game with the wind, got the win, 4-1. Let's on to the next one. That's not been my experience.
We're now at the point of the season, and this isn't necessarily just a Nebraska thing, just a college football thing, where we're now debating PFF grades and whether or not they're viable and whether or not they matter, and the whole analytics. And it just seems like as analytics has become more and more important and more prevalent, and now it's becoming a financial thing as well, where agents are bringing up these different numbers to teams in order for their clients to be paid more. They've become more important. You're like, I look at analytics, Brandon, and I'll just give you a baseline and you can take it from where you want to take it. But I look at analytics as, I think they help you. Like, they're a confirmation bias a lot, where it's like, if you believe something, you find an analytic, you're going to use it and it's going to prove your point. And if you find an analytic that doesn't prove your point, then you kind of go, well, they're not foolproof. I mean, what's your view on some of these advanced statistics?
Yeah, I mean, the PFF grades are something that I always find interesting and look at. Like, it bothers me as someone who works with numbers quite a bit, that, like, I can't recreate them. Like, there's
Sure.
a secret sauce there. And I don't think that it's like, oh yeah, they're just out there, throwing numbers around. That's not it at all. It's just there's a little bit of a lack of clarity there for me. I think the confirmation bias part of it is real. A lot of, I think, the stories that I like, that I've written in the past, kind of start with an open-ended question. And if you go into it that way, of like, let's try to get a better understanding of what's actually happening here, maybe you can get around a little bit of that. But, I mean, the PFF grades from what I saw for this past game were a good instance of that. Like, I'm sure people went there looking to see terrible grades for Nebraska's own line, and that wasn't really the case. So it requires a good amount of nuance.
Okay, so nuance is a good word, because Nebraska is going to face a team that runs the ball 29 times a game and they average 93 yards. So they don't have a quarterback that's going to beat you with his legs. He wants to beat you with his arm. I've said the pass defense is in a good spot. I'll wait until they face a team that lives by the air. What do you think happens when you look at this matchup with Malik Washington, some wide receivers that we probably should learn their names sooner than later, but they're kind of one-dimensional against Nebraska's strength? What happens in that category on Saturday, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think with what we've seen from Maryland so far, it's gonna require a good tackling game from Nebraska. And I thought they had a good tackling game against Michigan State, because the yards per attempt for Maryland, they're kind of what you'd expect for a true freshman quarterback. It's been a bit surprising that he hasn't run a little bit more, but that's his preference. Maybe that's what he's being coached to do. So they get him a lot of completions that are pretty manageable, and they take that. So Nebraska can defend that. I'm kind of at a point with the defense currently where I'm like, the more teams throw into that Nebraska defense, the better it is. And it's not because Nebraska can't defend the run. Mike Locksley noted during his press conference, he's like, yeah, they haven't been that strong against the run. I was like, well, that's true, but Maryland's averaging something like 3 yards a carry on the year. Like, what are you going to do about it? So that'll be one of those interesting parts of it, because Nebraska is well situated to make things difficult, I think, on Maryland's offense. But I think the same is true for Maryland's defense against Nebraska's offense.
That'll be funny. The unstoppable force meets the immovable object, or whatever opposite of that you want to do it with. Now, I was reading the comments yesterday in our YouTube chat, and I stumbled across something pretty startling to me, and it got me to go down this rabbit hole. Do you remember the 2022 Illinois football team? They were 8-4 that season. Ryan Walters was their defensive coordinator, and they had three guys in the secondary: Tre'Tavious Martin, Sidney Brown, and Devon Witherspoon. Those guys went in the top 90 in the NFL draft, and statistically, they are one of the greatest secondaries of all time. Now, I'm not saying that Nebraska's current secondary is going to be that or up to that level, but do you think we might be getting down this path of 5 defensive backs, 4 down linemen sometimes, like that Nebraska could be in kind of that rarefied air in terms of, man, this is a legitimate no-fly zone?
I think that based on what they've shown, that's the case so far, and I really like that 2022 Illinois comparison because you could look at that team, and I don't recall specifically, but I feel like it was kind of, lukewarm on the Illini coming into that year.
Yeah.
And it was kind of the point that they made a jump. And in fact, when you look at it 8-4 with those 3 dudes in the secondary, it feels a little bit like a missed opportunity.
Sure.
But given their record in 1-score games probably since that season, they probably got a little bit of that back, at least the past season and a half or so. I don't think from an NFL kind of perspective, Nebraska has those type of guys. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but the practical impact in terms of the numbers they're putting up, I'll have to go back and compare them to Illinois from that year, because it's hard to be much better than Nebraska has been against the pass so far.
I don't want to take a shot at Malcolm Hartzog, but I kind of will here, and it's a roundabout way. Because of him being out of the lineup, they have a little bit more clarification on roles in the back end. Does that mean they've been better the last 2 weeks because more guys are playing more snaps?
It definitely could. And, you could look at the experience that Nebraska brought back coming into the year, in the secondary in particular, but it made that group kind of malleable. And, we saw it last year when some of those safeties, guys that they said we want them to be safeties, well, you get some injuries, they had to move them out to corner. And, you kind of looked at it as like Deshaun Singleton is kind of like your defined role as your runner hitter type of guy. But the other 2 safeties, you had some flexibility there. And that's not always necessarily the best thing. It's good when you need it, but I'm a big believer in football and just about everything else. Like, limits are often a plus of just knowing, like, hey, here's what it is. This is what we can do. Let's try to do it to the best of our ability. And, even having the clarity of, like, these are our best 5 guys. It's not 5 plus 2 to try and sort through, I think can be useful.
So I love Dana had a couple of moments yesterday during the presser where he was like, yeah, Carter Nelson didn't do much. He just picked up the ball and scored. And, then he got a little serious and he addressed the rushing game. And he was like, well, these are, I know people have been saying this here, the reasons. And then I love John Butler at the end of his presser going, any Brendan Sorsby questions, anybody? Do you, it's interesting to me. Rule very much diplomatic, very much not going to, if he ever calls you out, he's going to be like, hey, I'm joking. Do you think it works that he's got 2 coordinators that can be a little snappy, that can be a little snarky, that can be a little like, hey, I hear you, and this is, we're proving these things, and these are the things that we're doing?
I think it does. It's an interesting mix of personalities, and I think as we've gone on, we've seen a little bit more of Butler. Early on, it was very like guarded and businesslike, and he's still that, like, 95% of the time. But then you get the 5% where he makes the Sorsby joke, which was the quip of the day on Tuesday. I certainly thought. And then, Dana Holgerson, you know what you get with him. Like, yeah, he came up under Leach and Mummy, to kind of pass game weirdos, which I say with all affection. And he has that very direct manner, same as 2 of his mentors. So you expect that with him. And then we don't get to talk to him, during the season, but The biggest personality in the room is of course your special teams coordinator. So
Yeah.
it's a good blend, I think, of guys who are accomplished in terms of what they've done, but also just a mix of personalities.
We'll get you out on this. So the other matchup that is very interesting is what Maryland does. Ted Monachino is the defensive coordinator. He's a graybeard. He's been around the NFL for a long, long time. And he's got two big-time rush ends who are young in Stewart and Mathis. Telling you, if you've not seen Maryland play and you're watching the game on television, by the end of the day, you'll want to come off your couch and through the TV and go at Sidney Stewart. Sidney Stewart lets everybody know that he's in the ballpark. Okay, he's very flamboyant.
Yeah.
I mean, P.J. Smith wants the Huskers to throw the bones. Sidney Stewart might throw the bones, okay? But they have 19 sacks, and those two, Stewart and Mathis, have 9. I'm going to give you the headset with the OC, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, offensive line. Which of those have to have their best day for Nebraska to be successful on that side of the ball?
Probably the quarterback, because I think even if Nebraska plays better than has played through 2 Big Ten games against the Big Ten sack leader, so like we all know the stakes of that coming in, you're still going to get pressured a bit. This Maryland defense also leads, I think, the Big Ten in interceptions. So they have, I think, the athletes, and this is kind of the key with Nebraska because Raiola really shreds zone defense. Like they're like, this team's given up 12 sacks in 2 games. We've got 2 freshmen who are uber athletic and able to get to the quarterback. And they might have the confidence in their defensive backs to play man. So if that happens, that puts this in a slightly different category, I think, for Raiola, even though it's kind of been the book on him a little bit, or maybe even more than a little bit. But that's the thing that scares me about Maryland. It's kind of the thing that's defined Maryland through most of their time in the Big Ten, I think, is like they're just always going to have some guys like that, particularly at rushing and at corner. And if you got dudes there, you got a chance against most teams.
Yeah, those two guys we're gonna be watching the NFL down the road. Brandon, as always, appreciate it. Great stuff by you and Aaron covering everything Huskers on counterread.com. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
It's Brandon Vogel from counterread.com. Because I do like guys that are a little flamboyant, cocky, you could say, that back it up. Sidney Stewart's a dude. Him and Zaire Mathis are 2 really good defensive ends.
Sometimes you need like the MFers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to say what former Nebraska player once said this, but he was walking around on the sideline and he saw guys practicing and he goes, not enough people on this team tell the coach F you.
Yeah.
You know, you need some of those guys.
Mathis chose Maryland over Ohio State and Georgia.
Nice.
All right, more on this game tomorrow when we reconvene in 20 hours. Enjoy the baseball. 4-division series. Do we have more baseball or less baseball?
More.
Okay.
Well, more.
All right.
We'll have a second game. I'll say this right now. We'll have a second game in Wrigley.
I hope that's the case.
I'll join you for that.
Okay.
Hell yes.
Find some offense, please. All right. We'll see you tomorrow at 6. Crossovers coming up next.